What up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us this load every time. On today's show, Jason Stratham is riding yet another giant shark to go get some Flamin Hot Cheetos. MTV News is getting shut down, and Beetlejuice 2 might actually be happening. But before we get into all this, let me introduce to you my awesome co-host, starting with the Dowager Countess, Lady Cora. How are you doing tonight, ma'am?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting some rain. I love the rain sometimes, and I'm getting it, and I'm happy about that. So,
Yeah, I just realized I didn't water anything today like I wanted to. Today was my lazy day. Didn't do shit.
did you get rid of the
But no.
foxes?
Yeah, they finally left. Honestly, the last couple of days, I was like, okay, I'm getting some pepper spray on Friday, and I'm just going to chase these damn things off because I have shit I got to do in my yard. I have to fix all the damage I've done underneath my shed. But the last couple of days, I haven't seen them, and there's lots of squirrels and other birds that are hanging out in my yard again. So I assume that means they're gone. But I'll find that out
So
here.
now you have pepper spray to use for a fun prank.
Could be. Good. Jeremy's not that far away. I can just knock the door one day as soon as he opens, just hit him right in the face. But I'll take that badass Boondock shirt thing that he got. That was a dope shirt. I want that shirt. But and of course, my hetero life mate Jeremy, who I just threw in the pepper spray. What's going on, brother?
You do that, you're not getting the Boondock Saints shirt. You're getting a Boondock. Hey, you'll get a Boondock Saints treatment if you fucking do that shit to me. You better kill me, because otherwise I'll find you.
You do wear glasses, so you might be immune.
I don't think it matters, pepper spray. And of course, the shape for the Lone Star State, our man Tex. What do you got going on today, my brother?
Oh, not much. Hanging out with y'all, listening to Frank prepare to go massacre squirrels and assault Jeremy makes me happy. So I'm always down for that. But
glad I could do that for you.
Well, doing well. Hope everybody's having a fun day. Tired, but we'll make it through. You know what I mean? So
what
good.
better way to celebrate being in the middle of the work week or being over hump day, getting one day closer to the weekend than by talking movies. Lady Cora, what's the first thing we'll be going into tonight?
Speaking of work, who knew the history of a snack could be so spicy? The first full-length trailer for Flamin Hot came out Wednesday, unpacking the tale of former Frito-Lay janitor Richard Montanez and the invention of the crunchy, chili-dusted snack. Montanez has long claimed he cooked up the idea for the chips after thinking about Latino tastes while working on the floor of Frito-Lay's Rancho Cucamonga plant. After taking his idea to top executives, he says he quickly became a corporate power player. Jeremy, did this trailer interest you in the film, or did it just make you hungry?
I didn't even know this was a thing, so I mean, now I'm hungry, but yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny how now we're doing kind of those weird stories of stuff that you don't really think about, like, like the movie about Tetris and things of that nature, especially like this. It's like you don't really think about, oh yeah, so where did that come from? And the answer may surprise you. So I don't know. It seems kind of interesting. I appreciate the apparent who was that, God and Adam, about touching Cheeto dusted fingers in that picture. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, great imagery, but I don't know if the movie's going to live up to it. I don't know, Tex. What do you think? We were just talking about this before the show. I don't know. I'm still formulating my thoughts. What do you think?
Did you pick up the idea that it's a comedy? I got the vibe it's a comedy.
Well,
it might be.
It's it's like I was telling Frank. This is the most unnecessary film that I think I have to see. I mean, I have never once looked at a bag of Flamin' Hot chips and thought, you know what? There's a story here that I need to know, by God. Like, somebody get on this immediately. I mean, we've had Nike shoes, we've had Tetris, now we've got Flamin' Hot Cheetos. What's next? Like how if we're going to do this and the My Pillow guy doesn't get a movie, I'm going to be pissed, because that could be a hell of a story right there. That's all I'm saying. But I don't know why this is, and has Eva Longoria ever directed? I mean, do we know? I mean,
yes,
I know she's been in TV.
She started doing directing on TV when she was on that TV show, something about housewives or something. She started doing executive producing way back then, and since she's gotten, I think, a little more serious about being behind the scenes, but she does have some experience.
Well, I don't know why this film exists, but I mean, it's a thing now. So, I mean, hey, I guess Frito-Lay is going to, get a good little paycheck out of it or whatever. But I mean, obviously it looks comedic when, the little kid, ooh, hot, hot, hot. But I like it. They play him up 2 or 3 times in the trailer just for that one deal. But I got a feeling that's probably the only thing he does in that whole movie is he's the comedic relief. He just comes in and does kid things. But I don't know. I didn't see the Tetris movie. I didn't see the Nike movie, but I'm more likely to see this one if it's on streaming than theatrical. I will say that. You know what I mean?
Come on, you watched Cocaine Bear and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. You're gonna tell me?
Hey, you listen here, sir. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is quality cinema. I don't care what anybody said. The fact that you pushed out and didn't go watch it, that's on your account.
No. I did not wimp out seeing this movie. That is not the issue. Yeah, I think the issue is the entire thing itself, but I digress.
Yeah, he avoided it on principle. That's totally different. He didn't.
Well, you need to check your principles, sir. I got news for you. That's fine,
but I have to tell you, I am tempted to watch it one of these nights when I don't know what to watch and I want to watch something stupid.
It's a fun slasher film. It's a fun slasher movie. Is all that it is.
I was gonna say, I just watched Evil Dead and I enjoyed the absolute hell out of that. This is probably nothing. It might be goofy in comparison.
Yeah, Tex makes the comparison to like the movie Air that just came out about Nike and Tetris. I think those are a little bit different because if you think about it, Nike at the time was kind of struggling as a business and they needed that big thing, and the Air Jordan was the big thing that propelled them. Same thing with Tetris. It wasn't really about the game. It was about the story behind the game. It was going to Russia.
Well, how is this any different though?
Here's how it's different. Number one is we're not talking about Frito-Lay's being in financial peril and they were saved by this product. They were going pretty strong. Number two, this movie is already being destroyed as 100% bullshit. It's like Frito-Lay has even came out in a statement and said none of our records show that Richard was involved in any capacity in the Flamin Hot test market. They wrote in a statement to the Los Angeles Times at the time. And even director Eva Longoria said in January that the exact origin of the chip was beside the point. Which basically she's saying, we completely made this shit up, but we're gonna go ahead and put it out there. Look, I'm okay with the feel-good story. That's fine. There's a reason why this is going to Hulu because they know it's not going to be able to compete in the summer movie season. Now that we're back to full strength of the theaters, we're really just done with COVID at this point. Everybody's going back. Guardians is out there killing it. There's more movies coming out. They knew this shit was going to get buried. So she's just doing this to get her director's chops, and I get it. She needs to get a little bit of work behind the camera to try to figure out how she wants to make films. That's fine, but I'm not gonna pretend like this is a true story. Like I know that every true story they try to turn into a movie or TV show has got a few embellishments. It's got a few things they have to tinker with for dramatic effect or for the entertainment value. But I mean, everything I've read about this is it's 100% bullshit. So you're taking this whole thing and flipping it around. And for one, it doesn't even look all that entertaining. It looks goofy. It looks like
a stupid comedy. Is what it looks like. A stupid comedy that was made for like FX or something. Is what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would never in a million years pay to see this movie. It doesn't look like anything that I would want to spend $5 on. I mean, I wouldn't go to an early show.
That's what I was trying to say about Pooh, Blood and Honey, but I mean, no, I'm a wuss, right?
You and your principles.
I said you avoided on principle.
You and your principles, sir.
But I mean, it's like I don't know. Part of me feels like it's maybe even taking advantage of the Hispanic angle a little bit. Like they're just saying, "Hey, I want to put this Hispanic person out here and make him the sympathetic story." I mean, come on, Hispanic janitor.
Do you think they're? Let's see, what's the word? Pandering? Is that the right word? Do you think they're pandering a bit?
Yeah, that's probably a part of it too. I'm just like, whatever. I'll give this movie a watch one night when I'm bored because it's on Hulu and I won't have to pay for it. Anything other than what I've already paid for my monthly Hulu fee. But I mean, if this was going out in theaters, I wouldn't bother. I don't even think there was any really big stars in it that I could see. I mean, the biggest name attached to it is Evil Longoria.
The guy that played Monk was in. I saw him in the trailer. Tony Shalhoub.
Oh, Tony Shalhoub.
He was like the head of Frito-Lay or something like that.
Yeah, but he's not going to carry the movie. He's
and the guy who does those some car insurance commercials, he's in it. The African American coworker of his in the trailer.
Oh yeah, it's got Haysbert. Dennis Haysbert.
Yes.
I love Dennis Haysbert.
He was on the unit. I liked him on the unit. That was
he's great.
Yeah, but again, they're not carrying the film. They're just there they're probably there for a paycheck. I mean, as much as I love Dennis Haysbert, as much as I love everything he's been in, where's he been lately? I mean, after they canceled that TV show he was in, they canceled that like 5-6 years ago or something like that.
What? The unit? It's been longer than that.
Yeah, it's been a while. Tony Shalhoub since Monk hasn't really done anything other than a couple of random movie appearances. So I don't know, but I got to be honest. It's a goofy trailer that made me giggle. But will I pay to see this movie? No, not in a million years. Especially knowing what I know about it being mostly fake. I mean, this article that I'm reading in the Huffington Post right now is just like, yeah, it's not exactly the way it is. And the part that really gets me is Evil Longoria comes out and says the origin of Chip is beside the point. No, it's exactly the point. You're trying to tell a true story about a nobody who achieves greatness. I was
Did she get licensing permissions from Frito-Lay? I mean, they
probably would have had to.
Cared.
They would have had to. They're using their logos and everything.
Yeah, well, Frito-Lay's part, they're like, you know what? You can say whatever you want as long as you're not disparaging the company. We're getting some advertising. So
I'll say, and then they're going to get business. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you pay us a couple of bucks. We'll let this be a commercial for us. We don't care. Mm-hmm. And as long as they're not saying anything negative, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the thing. Like when I saw it from the trailer, this entire movie is going to be like, hey, you created this great chip. Come on in, Mr. Mexican man. We'll make you a chairman of the board now because you made one chip for us. It's like, come on.
We're being accepting of your culture and racially diverse. Look at us. Yay, us. Yay.
I think that's
clap on the back.
Remember, we can do things like that. We can just make, history whatever the hell we want it to be because, like you said, who cares? What's the point? Cleopatra was definitely a black woman.
Did you hear by the way, she responded, the main actress responded to the Egyptians suing Netflix, and she made some comment about how the Egyptians are sad people. Not kidding.
That still doesn't really address the okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I mean, since it doesn't matter, I'm still waiting for my Ryan Gosling as Black Panther. Let's do this thing.
But whatever.
It's all about inclusion unless it's a white person. So imagine if we started doing that. Oh my God.
Yeah, Flamin Hot comes out on Hulu on June 9th. It's gonna honestly, this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be one of those things. Depending on how long the writer's strike drags out, I think it's gonna be one of those things like entertainment's gonna be dead for a while. So it's gonna be like Tiger King.
I don't know if it will though. I think how long? Okay, we were behind 2 years in theater releases, right? You know, these studios have stuff backed up in the tailpipe that they're trying to get released. Is it? I mean, obviously, I'm saving part of this for the conversation later, but. Are they really in a hurry to get anything new, though? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I don't
know.
Well, I can get into it a little later, but writing is not just writing and getting a script greenlit and then it gets made.
You got to get the ball rolling at some point. So
writers are actually there through the filming process as well for a lot of reasons. So we can go.
Oh, of course, yeah.
For editing, isn't it, or for adapting in real time and things like that?
Oh, there's all kinds of things that happen on the set that you need writers for. But I mean, whatever. We can get into that later. But Flamin' Hot's going to come out on Hulu on June 9th here in a little bit less than a month. Like I said, I think it's going to be kind of like Tiger King. I think it's going to be a little slow for the next month or two. Because if they finish the writer's strike tomorrow, there would still be a little bit of lag time before everything kind of got fully back up and running, probably about a week or so. So it might kind of set things back a little bit. So I have a feeling that this might be one of those things like Tiger King. Because Tiger King, I think, blew up because it was the very beginning of the pandemic. Nobody was able to leave their house. So there was really nothing else to watch. But I think that's one of the things that helped Tiger King out.
I mean, you still could have not watched it. That's still freedom of
True.
choice.
And I know a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people were just like watching it out of curiosity because they didn't really have anywhere else to go. They couldn't go to the movies, so you would.
I was obsessed with Tiger King. Holy crap! That was so,
bitch, Carol Baskins.
My God, there was no good guys in that. That was one of the you just wanted everybody to go to prison. Like, can we just arrest all of them?
Straight to jail.
For a while.
Hey, whatever.
They
would have made the other movie on Peacock about him. I don't know why, but whatever.
I watched that Carol versus Joe or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
It was a weird dramatization, and it's like they super played up the homosexual sex scenes, and it's like, okay, we get it, Joe's gay, move on. Like, it was like, it was obnoxious. It was bad. Don't waste your time. So.
But I don't know. It's coming out in about a month, so you guys go down in the comments and let us know. Do you think did the trailer do anything for you? Me personally, wasn't really impressed, but somebody out there is going to like it. I don't know. Maybe this movie's going to be a banger. I don't know. But I have a tough time taking it serious because A, it's going right to Hulu, and B, I already know the story's about 98% false.
Direct to DVD in old terms.
Right. Straight to VHS.
There we go.
No doubt.
Straight to the laser disc.
I was going to say laser disc, right?
Go on.
I should have said laser disc.
But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought of the trailer, if you even saw it. Lady Corey, what's the next topic we'll be going into tonight?
Something I want to talk about. Jason Statham has another giant sea creature to deal with. Warner Brothers Pictures debuted the first trailer for Meg 2: The Trench on Monday, giving fans a first look at the sequel of the 2018 original, starring Statham, 55, as rescue diver Jonas. According to an official synopsis, Meg 2 is literally larger-than-life thriller ride that supersizes the 2018 blockbuster and takes the action to higher heights and even greater depths with multiple massive Megs and so much more. Tex, what did you think of the trailer for the Meg 2?
Well, my first thought was when they started the trailer, Brooding Gamer is probably like cheering right now watching this because it looks like a Jurassic Park movie for the first 30 seconds of this trailer. I mean, they even start with the 65 million years ago. It's like, did you watch 65 and you purposely put that in? Because I mean, whatever. But
I mean, that's when the dinosaurs were still kicking. But
right, this trailer looked like Sharknado with a budget is what it looked like, and that's a great thing because I love the Sharknado movies.
Could you imagine?
I've seen all 6 of them. It was my stepfather's probably favorite series of film. God rest his soul. But this movie looks fun. This is Meg-proof glass, tink, tink, tink. And then the next scene, he comes through the whole wall and just like, oh my God, this looks like fun. I love a good monster movie, whether it's Godzilla, Sharknado, Jaws, whatever it is. I'm here for it. There's so many things I can say, but I'm going to let Cora go off because I know she wants to. So you go ahead. So.
First of all, fuck you, Mr. Alton, the author of these books, for making the book readers who wanted the final book to wait a whole extra year because you wanted to push out the interest in it by releasing it with the movie. So thank you. I could have read it a year ago. Got that out of the way. By the way, the books are amazing. There are 7 of them. 7th hasn't been released yet. Will be next month. Fantastic books. I think they're trying to mash up, because the first movie was like the first and second book mashed up, and the second movie I'd have to watch it, but it looks like from the trailer it's like a mashup of like book 3 through 5. So I'm guessing there's going to be room for a third movie. Why not? And yes, when I saw the T-Rex, I was going insane because it was exactly like, by the way, the Jurassic Park T-Rex. They must have got permission to use the exact likeness of the one from Jurassic Park. I just was like, I rewatched it 3 times just to see the dinosaur. Just saying. Haha, love it. So I'm looking forward to this, but I highly recommend anybody who enjoys these movies to read the books, because the books go into all the other creatures that they find in the depths that I think they're going to touch on in this movie. And if you're interested in science, the ocean, any of the nature, I highly recommend the book. They're well written, and he actually takes a long time to research, which I think brings some credibility to the movies as well. The actual history of these creatures with and so it's not just all fiction. There's actually a lot of science in it. So anyways, and plus
Now,
Jason Statham's hot. Bald men,
one
shaved head, very hot. Yeah.
there was one question I did have. Is there two Megs in this movie? Because if you go to the scene in the trailer where they're underwater. Okay, I was going to ask, is there multiple? Because, like, when the red light's on the main one on the left, you can kind of see a face to the right. I didn't know if there was more than one or whatever. I didn't know what the deal was.
There's actually a pack of them that breach containment, and they are siblings, and they end up hunting together, and they didn't know they hunted together. And so I think that's what they're referring to, but I don't know if they're going to change it from the books to the movies and these are wild ones, or if they're the sisters that were the most dangerous ones of all. These are, anyways, yeah, they're like
in the article that I'm looking at. In the article that I'm looking at on People, it says multiple massive Megs and so much more. And to that effect, I thought I saw a really, really big octopus, like in a real quick
Kraken
in the trailer.
Yes.
Yeah, so
there is one.
Or there is a giant squid that's supposed to be in the ocean
There's
too.
Basically in the books 10 amazing, fantastic bad guy animals that they could introduce in the movies.
So this is kind of like the whole kaiju universe that Godzilla and King Kong exists.
But it's based on real science and archaeology.
Like, we don't know what's in the ocean. Well, that shit's terrifying.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, it's you're exactly right. I to be honest with you, I didn't know the Meg had like a whole book universe. I thought it was just let's make a generic shark movie because Jaws and Sharknado was a thing. I thought that's what Meg 1 was. I didn't know there's a backstory to it, but I'm actually more interested.
I didn't either, Tex, until I saw the first movie, and I watched the credits real close, and it said based on the books, and I looked it up, and I was just like, boom. I read the first 5 books in like 6 weeks. So.
Jesus. Yeah. I hadn't read 5 books in 6 years.
Okay. Jeremy, what do you think? I mean, you saw the trailer, I hope. Is it doing anything for you?
Well, considering I didn't see the first movie, no.
The first one's good. I liked it. It was very enjoyable.
It looked like fun. I mean, I guess all I could. Well, first of all, since it's apparently a family of Megs, I guess you could say this time it's really personal. And all I could really say was I could try and butcher a pretty good impression of what Jason Statham would be like in the 1999 cinematic masterpiece known as The Phantom Menace, playing the part of Qui-Gon Jinn. He could have just been like, "Guess you could say there's always a bigger fish." So I don't know. That was my lead up to that butchering. Don't come beat me up, Statham. I promise it was all love.
We're getting a lot of dinosaur related stuff from.
I love it.
Obviously, the Jurassic Park movies. Then we had 65. Then freaking Mandalorian had dinosaurs and dinosaur-like creatures. Now Meg 2, like Jurassic Park better be getting some royalty rights or something, like Cora said a minute ago. They're straight up.
Exactly.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It looked like the opening of a Jurassic Park movie. I mean,
how many other ways can you really, do that? I guess.
Right.
Like, how many things have we had that have been in the zombie apocalypse genre? I'm like, I could make something and everyone would be like, oh, that's Dawn of the Dead. Oh, that's Walking Dead. That's, what I mean?
Right.
Can't really escape it, I guess. If, your pinnacle is, of course, Jurassic Park. It's like everything else is just kind of cute in comparison. I don't know.
It looks fun. And I will say the song choice, I was telling Frank this before we started, freaking using Barracuda from Heart. I've had that stuck in my head ever since I watched that stupid trailer. Like, it's just I mean, how can you not love that guitar riff? And it fits perfect for this, right? I mean, this trailer felt like did y'all see the new Piranha 3Ds movies that they came up with in the last 10 years or so?
I think I saw one of them.
This trailer feels a lot like those movies, and that's a good thing because those were awesome. So it probably won't be as vulgar or as much nudity in this as the Piranha films, but I think it'll be a fun time. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, I feel about these the same way that I feel about the Expendables movies. It was like they're not trying to be great. They're not trying to tell you they're fine art. It's just ridiculous, adventurous fun. So, yeah, that's all it is. Now,
it's a popcorn movie, dude. Is what it is.
Oh, yeah. There was a point in the trailer I kind of rolled my eyes, and I was like, really? When he, like, kicks the one shark in the nose? That obviously was not one of the Megs, because it was only about the size of Bruce, the shark from Jaws. So, I mean, it obviously wasn't it obviously wasn't like a full-on megalodon. That's probably something that happened.
It probably was a juvenile.
True.
Maybe. But at the same time, I was kind of like, whatever. This is going to be mindless fun. Turn your brain off and enjoy the movie. Don't think too hard about it, and you'll have fun. That's kind of the way I see it. Like I said, these movies aren't high art. They're not Shakespeare. They're not Gone with the Wind. You just go there, you turn your brain off, have a little bit of fun. That's all you gotta do.
Well, I am going to expect Cora to do the level of notes that I do for a slasher film on this one when we do the review. For Scream 6, I had almost 7 pages of notes, so that's what I expect here. So make sure you're on top of that.
I can give that because in the books it's very scientific. They talk about
there you go.
The genus, species, and the history. I mean, I could do probably a TED talk on these movies.
Well, there you go. So like I said, I expect a full book report, front and back, the whole thing. So yeah,
I'll
it'll be fun.
translate it into Klingon for you.
I won't read it, but you do what you need to do. So it's all good. But, I right. If I haven't read 5 books in 6 years, you really think I know Klingon? I mean, what are the odds?
I'm not judging you. I'm just being funny.
Oh, I'm not judging either. I'm not ashamed of anything here. Just stating facts.
Audiobooks are a thing for a reason because some people prefer listening to reading.
I'm telling you what.
Get it.
I gotta give Jason Statham some credit though. I mean, the guy is 55 or something like that.
Right.
Yes. 55.
He looks like he's in his early or mid 40s, and he's still cut, looking fantastic. So
he's
I can fight sharks and drive around with Dominic Toretto and do all this other shit, dude. And by God, you do you, boo. You do you, boo. You do your thing, and I'll be fine.
He's a modern day Chuck Norris, Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's an 80s action star in the 2023 is what he is.
British, so it's even better.
Now, I don't trust the British accent. I feel like they're always up to something. I don't trust them. I don't know. It's one of those things.
No, see, it's the Canadians. That's why they're so nice. It's almost they're a little too nice.
No, Canadians aren't nice. They're passive aggressive. I've had this debate with a few Canadians in my personal life. That it's a whole thing. They're not nice. It's a whole thing. But,
well, that's why me and Frank are a little too close to the Great White North. It's like you wonder why we're such assholes. It just kind of trickles down a little bit. Just rains down on us.
I don't know.
I had somebody from Florida tell me, he's like, man, everyone I've ever met from your state's really nice. I'm like, it's a front. Don't believe it. It's not true. It's really not. No.
I could see it. What you gonna do? Either way, Meg 2 looks cool. People will be eaten. There will be plenty of blood, and I will be there to enjoy it. So,
the books are more graphic. Just saying, if you want graphic, the book.
Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they give us plenty girls in bikinis and whatnot. It just goes.
I'm pretty sure they would.
So
yeah,
it's gonna be on the summertime. So yeah, it's gonna be part of the scenery.
If the girls get Jason Statham, the guys should get some, eye candy too.
Girls with great hair, as Cora would say, on the beach. What I mean.
Girls with good hair.
No, great hair. Great hair.
Great hair.
We're not slacking.
Best hair. Kitty hair. How's that? Dallas Cowboy cheerleader hair.
I agree.
There we go.
Yeah, hair. The hair's the important part. But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought of the Meg 2. I thought it was good. I think the movie looks like it's supposed to look.
Hair's code for titty, Joe. Just so you know.
Yeah. Yes, it is. But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought of the trailer for the Meg 2. Lady Cora, what's the next topic we'll be going into tonight?
Some not great news. More projects have been pushed back due to the ongoing writer's strike. Billions, the final season of Cobra Kai, and now the much maligned MCU film Blade have been put on hold due to the strike. Add these to the ever-growing list that now include Daredevil Reborn, Severance, and the final season of the Netflix juggernaut Stranger Things, and studios are no doubt feeling the pressure. I also want to add, when this happened before years ago, Frank, I was very mad. I was a avid viewer of the show Pushing Daisies on ABC, and they fucking ended the show early. They were going to do 2 more seasons. Fuck you, writer's strike. That bothered me then. I feel bad for people who are going to go through this now. Frank, what do you think of the projects affected so far? And is it going to be as bad as the last writer's strike, as I'm asking you?
Well, it already has. They've already canceled a couple of the smaller shows that they were just kind of like, well, we don't really need them. They're not big draws. We'll go ahead and cancel a couple of the smaller ones because nobody's going to notice. Because everybody's going to be too pissed off because, Stranger Things is going to be delayed. And you know that Netflix doesn't operate in a schedule the way that the networks do. They'll make a season of something and then 3 years later release the next season. Mm-hmm. So they don't really have the same schedule. I mean, I don't know. To me, I don't think the production companies are quite feeling it yet, but they're going to a lot quicker than I think that they will. I mean, again, Stranger Things, everybody's just losing their mind over how Stranger Things is going to end. We still don't know if it's going to get a movie at the end, so that's getting pushed. Severance, I've never watched Severance. I know a few people that do, and they say it's great drama. That's on Apple Plus. That's been pushed. Daredevil Reborn, that's the one that really hurts because I'm like, man, I really want to see that one. They not only stopped production on Daredevil, they were actively picketing in front of the shooting locations in New York. So they were making let's see. There's another big show in Showtime, a big drama. Evil, which is a show that's got the guy that played Luke Cage in the MCU. American Horror Story has been delayed.
Damn.
They can delay that all they want.
The list is starting to get longer and longer and longer. The shit is getting pushed. Look, I still side mostly with the writers on this thing, but eventually it's going to come to the point where they're going to kind of have to read the tea leaves here and be like, okay, we know we're making billions of dollars off these TV shows. Maybe we should cut these guys in for a little bit more. That's why I'm really hoping these guys the writers hold out. I mean, you see a lot of.
I think they would have learned from the last one. That was bad. Like, you fucked up a lot of shows. Like, I don't understand why lessons weren't learned from that. But
well, I think the lesson that they drew from it is that eventually the writers are going to cave. So that's one of the reasons why part of me is kind of like, hey, writers, don't cave. I mean, sit in front of their studios for a year and a half and say, look, you can't get any of this shit done unless you got me. Now, one of the ways this is affecting things is it's not just the stuff that hasn't been put in production yet. This is what I was talking about earlier with Tex, is writers don't just turn in a script and then they're done. Their work is done for the project. They're actually on set as well, because there are these things they refer to as punch-ups. There's like things that happen, like as you're filming a project, you might say, hey, this line of dialogue works a little better, or maybe you tweak a line of dialogue and that requires another line of dialogue to be tweaked, and you have writers on set for that. So what's happening right now is the stuff that's filming, you can't just film stuff if you have a completed script. You have to have someone there to do these punch-ups and to do this writer's job on the set. And there's nobody doing that because they're all on strike. And one of the reasons why you don't really want to just go ahead and film stuff is because which James Bond movie was it? Quantum? It wasn't Quantum of Solace. Maybe it was Quantum of Solace. It was the one movie with Daniel Craig that almost everybody hated, or at least like it wasn't their favorite. That got filmed during the last writer's strike, and Daniel Craig was the one doing punch-ups on that script on set during the filming, and a lot of people like hated the dialogue, hated the changes. Just that was not a lot of people's favorite Bond movie. A lot of people really showed that movie, and they think that's one of the reasons why. So that's one of the reasons why they don't really want to move forward with even filming anything, at least not anything hardcore, not any important stuff, unless you have writers on set to do what they do. I don't know, Jeremy. It's. I mean, you're a creative as well, in a different form, but you're a creative as well. What do you I mean, how long does this go, and who are you siding with at this point? Because we're now 2 weeks into this thing, something like that. We're into the second week, I think.
Yeah, because I think we talked about it. We talked about it last week, right? Kind of had just started picking up. I mean, it's like when I brought up the dilemma of like, you got the maintenance guy who takes care of the plane, make sure it can fly, but then you have the pilot who gets, hey, you flew the plane, good job. I'm like, one can't do the job without the other. So it's kind of funny when, like you said, this doesn't get done unless, you have these writers. It's all one big machine that's got to work together here. And I'm still going to say what I said last week with, it got a little too real when I played Outer Worlds and I had this company town that I'm like, you know what? Screw you. Screw this place. Fuck you guys. I'm going to burn it all down. So, you know what? I would say stick with the writers on this one because, like you said, it's like I wouldn't want to be the one. It's like they think, oh, well, they're not going to go anywhere. They're gonna come back. It's like, no, don't give them that. It's a fine little push and pull here, and if you want to make something happen, you gotta keep standing your ground on it. Also, damn it, you can't end Stranger Things like that. I want to know what happened. I don't care if you're gonna.
I need more.
If you're
I need more Vecna. Yeah.
You're gonna release season 5 like in 10 years anyway, so like just come on, get it going. I need to have Eddie come back from the fucking grave, like his hand just pops out of the fucking ground with the guitar and he just starts shredding away. All like vampired out and shit. So
yeah, I don't know. Cora, what do you think? I mean, this is not going to go away anytime soon. What do you think about where we're at with this thing right now?
I think that they all need to just realize that we live in a different, even from the previous writer's strike, it's a different time with social media and the fans being ever present in the decision-making processes. I think it's a different landscape, and I think if they piss the fans off enough, both parties have to move, and I think they're going to have to come together. Because I think people will get mad. Like Jeremy just said, I want to know the end of Stranger Things. There's going to be backlash on a level that they're not used to or ready for if it's going to be really, really bad.
This is the age of the internet. We're going to start getting all pissed off, and then it's really going to start coming down on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
We bullied a whole studio to change Sonic the Hedgehog. What do you think? What do you think we can do
let's not forget the whole Snyderverse restore the Snyderverse hashtag.
Right.
Look at the movement that was.
Look at that abomination that they really think they're going to pass off for Lilo and Stitch. Come on, let's kick them in the ass a little bit. That thing looks fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Also, you need to make Nani and David, Hawaiian, not white people. So that I'm just. There's my squirrel moment. I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the Duffer Brothers tweeted that Stranger Things season 5 won't even begin production until a deal is in place. So
at least they're not doing it half-assed.
Well, but didn't you say they write the show though? So I mean, or at least they have a.
Well, the problem with that is, and actually Ryan Reynolds is running into a problem with this with Deadpool 3, is that if you are a member of the WGA, you are not allowed. You're a member of the union. You are not allowed. So he can go on there and act, but he can't do any. But he can't do any of the writing stuff. So he can't do any punch-ups. He can't do any ad-lib. He can't do any of that stuff, or else he'd be violating union laws. Same thing with the Duffer Brothers. It's like, yes, they're the writers, but if they're members of the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, then they legally cannot do any work on this because they're on strike and they'd be violating union rules. So could you go film? Sure. But the writing stuff that needs to be handled over the course of the day-to-day production, you wouldn't be able to do any of it, and you can't get around doing any of it because it's necessary. Like I said, I mean, you get on set and things kind of take a life of their own. It's like you film a thing and you're like, you should go kind of come from over here and say it like this instead, reword it. Those are the punch-ups that I'm talking about. You're not even allowed to do that. So, I mean, it takes away a little bit of the directing stuff too. So that's the big part of the problem is a lot of these directors are part of the Writers Guild and they're legally not allowed to do anything. Mm-hmm. Also, for what it's worth, the CBS show Evil had wrapped early, but they're saying that the show, the decision to pause the show came as a result of a cast member taking a leave of absence due to a personal family matter, not the strike. But yeah, that's pretty good timing. they don't elaborate on that, but it's pretty good timing. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, right now you're looking at a bigger list. P-Valley on Stars. I never watch. I don't know what it's about. Stranger Things, Severance, Daredevil, The Night of Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, which it's a George R.R. Martin thing. Let's see. Sinking Spring on Apple TV. Never heard of it. Good Trouble on Freeform. I don't watch anything on Freeform. Loot's a show that I've heard about, but I haven't really. I haven't heard anything about it. Billions, Evil, AHS, and that's just the one that's on here. There's also a bunch of. Cobra Kai we already talked about, but the big one though is Blade. I mean, Jesus Christ, is this movie ever going to get made?
They can't catch a break, man. telling you.
I mean, it was supposed to start shooting next month.
Oof.
They actually announced this movie. They brought Mahershala Ali on stage at Comic-Con, I think 4 or 5 years ago. Now, granted, the pandemic had played a big part in that as well, but I mean, honestly, this is we're getting to the point like The Rock and Black Adam, like you announce that he's going to be in it, and then 13 years later we get the movie. Like it was 10 years ago that they announced The Rock as Black Adam. We just got the movie in the last year.
Yeah,
and it's looking like this movie. Honestly, at this point, I said it a while. I was telling somebody else a while back, not online or anything, that I think there's probably about a 90% chance that Mahershala Ali just walks away. I don't think he can stick around. I mean, because at this point, it's going to get pushed again. So Mahershala Ali, while he's in great shape for a guy his age, he's 49.
right.
That means that they're not going to start filming this movie until they were supposed to start filming next month. It was supposed to come out next November, I think. So he'll be 50 or coming up on 51. That's if they actually stuck to their filming schedule, which we know now they're not. He would be 50 or 51 when the first movie came out. You want to try to get 3 movies out of him. That's going to stretch it out for a while. Not to mention however many appearances you want him to have in other MCU stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they were planning on having him in the Kang Dynasty. Maybe they were going to have another Werewolf by Night kind of thing where he was going to be in that. Maybe they were going to do something else. So you're also looking at least 2 more other MCU appearances, not in a specific Blade movie. I got to be honest. I don't think he sticks with the thing. I think he's done. I think he's gone. I think he's leaving. I've already heard some rumors that he's trying to get out of the contract, or that he's already talked with Disney about saying, hey, if we don't start shooting this by a certain date, I'm sorry, I got to walk away. But yeah, I honestly don't see him sticking with it anymore. I mean, Jeremy, you think it's possible that he just up and bounces?
Yeah, there's only so long that you can do, you can just kind of sit here on hand and foot and just kind of wait for the wind to blow a different direction, I guess. Like you said, he's not getting any younger. I mean, while he's, like we talked about Jason Statham, he's probably in great shape, but you don't want to sit around and just keep waiting for this when, you got other stuff you could probably do. So, and yeah, if we want to make this a character with some longevity in Marvel, now's not the time to be delaying stuff. I know it's like that's not in the forefront of our mind. Like, damn it, we're gonna mess up Blade for everybody. Well, no, but this is the repercussions of it. So I would not blame him if he did. So,
and there's a recent, I'll get your thoughts on this text. There's a recent idea of how this kind of thing goes. I mean, The Flash had a litany of issues getting filmed. I mean, literally, they announced the Flash movie when the Flash TV show started on CW. The Flash TV show has now completed its run. It went for almost a decade, and we are just in the next month or so getting the Flash movie finally. It's same thing with Black Adam. Almost about a decade to even get that on camera. I mean, I got to be honest. There's a recent history of all this that we can kind of look at and see how this is going to go. Do you agree that he might end up meandering of walking away from this thing?
Oh, it's definitely a possibility. I didn't realize the guy was 49 years old. That surprised me. I thought he was. I mean, given I didn't even really know who he was till they announced he was going to be Blade. But yeah, I mean, he's almost 50. I mean, I'm guessing he probably does more action style roles than he does anything. And, I mean, unless they're paying him to sit around on the shelf, handsomely, I don't know what his contract is worth, but I mean, that's got to be a big number to not take any other roles, because he's got a lot of other people knocking on the door to be like, hey, you're in the MCU now. Well, why don't you come play in my blah, blah, blah movie or whatever?
Yeah. Right.
So, I mean, they better be ponying up that dough. Otherwise, they're liable to lose their star. I mean, you talked about the Flash there. I mean, look at how many directors alone, like until Andy Muschietti got a hold of it, there was like 4 or 5 other directors that tried to get that project off the ground, not counting the Ezra Miller nonsense and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, they have so many of these big budget studio productions, and the biggest problem with them is it's not like they're like, okay, with Blade, like you said, it's not like this is a single individual world. It doesn't connect with everything else. The problem with the MCU model is if they fumble here, it affects their next 4 or 5 steps because it keeps kicking the can down the road, like you said with King Dynasty or Secret Invasion, whatever it may be. So, I mean, hopefully they got a backup. Or, like I said, they're paying this dude to just ride the bench for a while because, yeah, I mean, you know, I was actually excited to see Blade. The other day, I rewatched the Blade trilogy. You know, I even commented on it. They're good films. I like all 3 of them. But, you know, it's hopefully this writer strike don't go on too long because, like I said last week, I mean, you know, DC had the first time they tried to put out a Justice League movie with George Miller, the writer strike hit, and now DC's trying to start a whole new universe, and you know, here's another one. So,
well, the other problem with Mahershala Ali is he's not one of those actors who's not big and he has to take a job just to have a job. He's at that point in his career where he can be choosy. I mean, he's been nominated for multiple Oscars. He's won one. So, I mean, this guy, he can pick and choose what he wants to do now. So he's not going to sit around for any one project because it's going to cost him 2 more. And it's going to cost him 2 more projects where he can be, where they're going to allow him to, you know, be as artistic as he wants to be. Because as an actor, you can't really, I mean, maybe with the MCU it's not as true, but you can't really be an artistic person when you're starring in a Marvel movie. You really just kind of go with what Kevin Feige and the directors are doing because you're a part of that larger mosaic of the MCU. But he doesn't have to do that. He can go do plenty of other shit. I mean, if he wanted to, he could go get into another horror movie franchise or something like that. Would he be done with Candyman? I mean, doesn't he have the look?
Hey.
I mean,
true.
Hey, he could.
He's a very stern look, a big, tall, slender guy. I mean, he can pull it off. But I mean,
I think he'd be a hell of a. Yeah, I'm down with it.
So if you're the MCU, you got to get this going now, or you're going to lose him, and then you're going to have to stall production again, even if the writer strike ends miraculously the next day. Then you got to go through recasting somebody who is a serious part of what you're going on in the future.
Pay him money, and he won't care.
Have they given a release date for Blade, or did they just announce that it was happening?
I think Blade.
I can't remember if they gave a release or did they just announce we're doing this and here's who Blade is.
I think no, Blade has right now. I think it's next November. It's its release date.
Okay, let's say it's next November. So that's what, 18 months basically. Take them. Let's say they shoot for 3 months. They do 6 months of post production, and then they could still do it if they get it in now. But they're going to have to get on it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But who knows? Who knows if, like I said, if the see, I was confused about this. That's why I said what I did earlier. I thought once a script had been greenlit, that the studios could go ahead and make it even under a writer's strike. I thought that's how that process went. I guess I misunderstood or I was wrong.
Well, like I said, greenlit is one thing. They may have a working copy of the script that they want to do, but like I said, when you're on the set, things can take a different life. So you have to have writers there to change certain things and stuff like that. And without writers there, I mean, you can't really alter the vision for the movie as you're making it, like, which is something they do for really almost every movie. But let's see. Oh, come on, what's going on? So yeah, they've already lost a couple of directors. We got our first crow of Mahershala Ali as Blade in the Eternals post-credit scene. Scroll down.
Even though it's just his voice, it's not even him. It's just his voice.
That was still a big Easter egg. Yeah, I remember watching that.
Oh, it was huge.
That's awesome. Let's see. What is it supposed to come out? Another Blade director leaves the film. Its original release date was November 3rd of this year. Damn. It's currently expected.
That's not happening.
September 6th of 2024 is right now the current release date. But I know
they can still do that.
Another movie just announced that as a release date because they're pretty sure that Blade is going to be moving, so they don't have to go head to head with the MCU.
Right. Well, I mean, assuming this writer's strike ends sooner than later, I could still see next September being a realistic goal. I mean, like I said, if you do 3 months of shooting, 6 months post-production and whatever, you can get a film put out. Now, how good it is yet to be seen.
Exactly.
But it can be done. I mean, they put out films a lot quicker than that. I mean,
yeah, but that's not Kevin Feige's way. Kevin Feige doesn't rush anything. He doesn't want to try to put anything out unless he thinks it's good. So Kevin Feige isn't going to rush anything. That's why I'm pretty sure this thing's going to get pushed back into 2025. It's gonna have to. I mean, like I said, unless the strike ends like tomorrow, there's no way.
Well,
and
you almost
like I said, there's a good possibility that Marshala Ali is just going to walk away at this point. So now you're going to have to recast the role, which is a real.
If they're smart, they put this in October because this is a Halloween movie. Yeah, you can put this movie. Technically, you can put it out any time you want, but I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, the most successful Halloween movies don't come out in June or August; they come out in October. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, realistically, I'd say September to October is your target goal.
Yeah, but Blade's not going to be straight up horror. Blade's at its core, it's an MCU movie.
Right.
So it's not a straight up horror movie at its core. So they're going to want that summer movie season money. I think it's.
I don't know.
I think honestly, because they're putting out in September now, but I think a lot of that has to do with just where it's going to fit the timeline of the MCU. But again, that's going to change because now you're going to need writers to punch up the script, to change the script, to maybe drop some mentions of things that are going to happen in the MCU between now and then, because you're like, well, we don't know when this movie is coming out, so now we're going to have to delete certain things that we wanted to put in there because we don't know if the reference is going to make any sense anymore.
Didn't they have this problem with Doctor Strange 2 in WandaVision? Like the timing was supposed to be different or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Mostly it was because of the pandemic, but I mean, some things not getting released when they were supposed to. It caused them to change a lot of plans they had for some post-credit scenes and some storylines in about 3 or 4 different movies. I forget exactly which ones. But I know Black Widow was one of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, Black Widow had a gigantic set of problems. I mean, Black Widow was another one like Flash or whatever, but I mean, I really want to see Blade. I want to see what they do with it, and I hope it's not too MCU-y. I don't want it to be. I want it to have more Werewolf by Night than Iron Man. I guess I'm trying to say, but I mean, that's just my personal taste. It is what it is. It's worth what it is.
And absolutely no Thor.
No Thor. No Taika Waititi Thor.
Just to say,
if Kenneth Branagh Thor, I can handle the Kenneth Branagh Thor.
If Taika Waititi even tries to get on set, somebody beat him with a 2x4. Tell him to get out of here. That guy, he tries to make everything ironically funny when nobody finds him hilarious. I don't understand that guy. But
I mean, like, he has a style, but I'm like, it doesn't really belong in.
Okay, well, is it a style if it sucks? I mean, it's just.
No, I'm saying it works in its own context, but not like you don't put it in a Thor movie.
There's a big difference in a style and being quirky and annoying. That's a thing as well. You know what I mean?
Like I said, it worked in Free Guy because I'm like, that's just a goofy movie.
Right, but he took Thor and turned him into a secondary character in a love story that nobody asked for. Yeah. Like, how do you ruin the God of Thunder here? Well, I mean, what's wrong with you? You're an idiot. But I don't know.
Right, well, I came for Thor. I stayed for Loki. So,
Tex, God broke the mold when He made your brain and how you think. There's only one you.
Well, that is. Well, I'm not. Well, God can't get all the credit. You're going to have to give a good bit of that to alcohol and everything else. It's a whole mix up there. It
takes a whole village, huh?
If you spent 5 minutes in my brain, they'd be calling the men in white coats to drag you out. But,
Well, I don't know.
Judging you. Not judging
there's a whole lot up in the air about Blade now, as well as with a lot of this other stuff. There doesn't seem to be any clear end in sight for the writer's strike. This is probably gonna go on for at least a couple of weeks.
Well, I've been seeing some big name dudes out there. I've seen everybody from Matt Reeves to Christopher Nolan to the funniest one I saw. Who was the guy that played Saul on Better Call Saul? What was it? What's his name?
Odenkirk.
Yeah, Robert.
Yeah, he was out there in that, like, oh, these writers got serious. Saul's out there helping them now. Right. And he's out there holding one of their signs or whatever.
Yeah, it's bad if he's out there. Yeah. You really
somebody posted underneath it, God help us if Walter White comes to support him.
I guess I guess Manny Patinkin was out there protesting with him, and on one of his signs, he wrote something like the whole thing from Princess Bride, like "You kill my father, prepare to die." He wrote on his sign, "You kill my residuals, prepare to die," or something like that.
Did you hear about Susan Sarandon getting arrested?
Who?
Susan Sarandon.
Oh yeah, she was protesting in but she wasn't part of the writer's strike. She was.
Oh, I know. I just was so shocked. I didn't know she was.
I bet she was protesting very dramatically, like she was standing on a statue or something, and making the whole thing of it.
Protesting minimum wage being increased in the state of New York.
Like of course. It wasn't even the writer's strike. It was some other shit that nobody cares about.
If she really cared, she could give up some of her own.
It wasn't even cool.
I know, right? But I don't know. This writer's strike is not going to end anytime soon. At least if it ends anytime soon, it's going to be a shock to everybody. That's for sure. But it's going to go on as long as it goes.
Is there even negotiations at this point?
As far as I know, no.
I haven't heard of it. That's why I asked.
I haven't heard of it. Now, a lot of times that stuff happens and it doesn't make the news. It's not talked about publicly. So.
Right, of course. Yeah, they're not going to announce every little thing. But I didn't know if anybody had heard anything.
Well, usually they'll announce that they're talking. There might be some press releases that representatives from either side are meeting, Tuesday at 4 or whatever, or some shit like that. But I haven't even heard anything about that. So,
right.
As far as I know, right now they're just at a standoff. They're just trying to wait each other out to see who blinks first. Because generally speaking, it's the one who blinks first who's end up having to give up a lot more. I'm really hoping that the studios end up blinking first, but whatever.
Let's say this goes on for 6 months. Just throw a number out, right? I mean, how many times have we said on this show, oh, well, the theaters are going to be packed for the next 2 to 3 years because of lockdowns and stuff didn't get released? How many projects do you think, and I'm not talking streaming TV shows, that's a separate problem, like big movies, how many big films do you think these people have in the can that they can still release that are already done, even though there's a strike going on?
Oh, in the can? Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, some movies can be ready to release for years before they actually see the screen. I mean,
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying. Like, how
as
bad
far as the MCU is concerned, they might have 2 that are actually done filming and they're in post. I mean, but even then, when you're in post, you still have reshoots, and you'll need writers in the set for reshoots.
Yeah, you still got to come back and yeah.
So I mean, who knows? I mean, Marvel's probably got. Well, I mean, Guardians just came out. I don't know what their release schedule is off the top of my head, but I mean, they've probably got 2 movies ready to go right now that are in post that maybe even are past reshoots, so you can just get those edited. But I mean, it really only gets us through this year for Marvel. That doesn't do anything for 2024. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I mean, there is where it hurts the most is TV because the turnover there is really, really quick. Usually they spend all summer writing, which is one of the reasons why this writer's strike is coming at a tough time, because this is usually the time of year where the writer's room's really kicking into gear to write those 10, 15, or 23 episodes, whatever the show is, for the fall season. They start filming like in the summer, and then by the time the fall comes around and they actually premiere the first episode of a series for that season, most everything is already filmed. So by the time we actually start watching this stuff, the season's usually mostly filmed, if not already completely done. But that's the dangerous thing. It's like because you're not only going to cut into like their production time, it's going to cost money. I mean, every day that you don't film can cost you a great deal of money, depending on the size of your production. I mean, I know what was it? One of the Marvel films. It was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. They had to stop filming for about a week or 2 because Letitia Wright got hurt doing some of the stunts in Boston, and that cost them something like I think it cost them like $1.5 million a day to not work.
Wow. Because contractually they have to pay all the crew. Is that?
It's not just contractual. It's not just that. It's like you're also. I mean, you owe these people money for sure, but also you want to have people there when you are able to start filming again. Because if you send everybody home and then Letitia Wright gets cleared to go back and start filming her stunts and her scenes or whatever, then you got to get everybody back. That takes another week to get everybody together. So you want to have everybody right there. So as soon as she's up and saying, "Okay, I'm ready to go," you are right on the set right then and there. So it costs like $1.5 or $1.8 million a day to not shoot that film.
Jesus.
So that right there was 10 or 15 million bucks if they spent to not do anything.
I'll tell you what. One thing, the one group that is going to benefit from this is the independent filmmaker. I've seen, and I forget the name of the guy that runs the studio, but he's been doing like the the highest quality Friday the 13th fan films. I mean, he's even got Tom Matthews, who played what was he played Tommy Jarvis in Friday 6th. Yeah. And like he's actually got the actual Hollywood actors reprising their roles. Now it's in a fan film, of course. He can't technically make money from it. But the independent side, the non-union guys, this is when it's their time to strike. I mean, if this thing goes on long enough, they can really benefit from this. You know, somebody like a Robert Rodriguez who owns his own deal outside of the whole system, he could go do something independent and go non-union with it. I don't know the legal ramifications, but I could see them benefiting here too.
I'm pretty sure he's got to be a WGA member. But also,
you think so?
Remember, he's got to be, because he doesn't just work on his own stuff. He works on. Well, I mean, he directed several episodes of.
Oh, that's right. He did Mandalorian. Never mind. Yeah,
and he does other writing stuff, so he's got to be a WGA member. But I mean, and on top of that, I mean, legally, somebody like a Robert Rodriguez might be able to go do something like that. But then you end up pissing off a lot of the people that are in the union. And so next time, so when the strike does end, and he says, "Okay, I want to make this movie," the union's going to be like, "Nah, we're not going to help you do shit." Because remember that time we were all on strike, and you were like, "No, I'm going to go ahead and make my movie anyway." Yeah, we're not going to help you out at all. That makes it difficult for him to make other movies in the future. So he probably won't do it because you don't want to fray those relationships in that kind of a business, because that business can be pretty ruthless. You hit the wrong person the wrong way, and that's probably your career. So. But I mean, I don't know. Again, this doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon, and I feel like there's going to be other projects that haven't been affected yet that are probably going to be affected. So go down in the comments below, let us know what you guys think. Has your mind changed? Are you on the side of the writers still, or are you on the side of the studios? Go down in the comments below, let us know what you guys think of all these projects that have been affected. Lady Cora, what's the next topic we'll be going to tonight?
Well, a major Paramount division announced Tuesday it will shutter MTV News and slash its U.S. workforce by 25%, bringing to an end the iconic music video network news division that once covered a range of issues from pop culture to politics and became a household name for Gen X and millennial adolescents. Rock the vote, just saying. MTV News' meteoric rise began in the 1980s when Rolling Stone editor turned TV host Kurt Loder joined the network and launched its The Week in Rock program, as well as other specials. During the 90s, MTV News also provided an alternative to traditional cable news that appealed to young Americans. And let me tell you, every hour on the hour, they would give a little update, cool shit. Jeremy, will you miss MTV News? Please tell me you saw it. Please tell me you know who Kurt Loder is.
No,
I will pay you $50. Something. Give me anything.
What am I the?
He's like MTV News. Paid.
Right.
They can say that. You kind of rigged that one.
Iconic voice.
No. Yeah. Look. I mean, when you see something like that,
start with look, I know I'm getting disappointed.
No. I think disappointment and MTV just kind of go hand in hand. When's the last time they actually did what they were, originally intended to do? So
when TRL died with Carson Daly, that's when it started dying.
So I'm just like, oh well, this sucks. But hey, thanks. How long's MTV been around? Like
1981. It was when around the time the Thriller video came out is when they started doing music videos.
It was a couple of years. It was a couple of years before Thriller. I think it's like 81.
Was it? Okay.
It might have been. Yeah.
First came out.
So I mean, you got about 10 good years of actual good shit, and then it just all kind of went downhill. But any remnants of anything that was ever good, we can't have nice. That's what this whole damn show is tonight. We can't have nice things.
I did notice that as I was putting together news stories and stuff, I was like, God, the writers trying to kind of wait for the news.
Right.
Yeah, we're just kind of realized. I'm like, yeah, we just can't have nice things. That's the tagline for this whole episode today. I don't know, man.
There's the man right there, Kurt Loder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And then he went edgy and he wore black turtlenecks all the time. Like that.
That's
that was
Elon Musk.
No, Kurt Loder did as well. I vividly remember it.
I thought you were talking about like Steve Jobs with like the sweater and the jeans and shit. But no,
Oh, that's who I meant, not Elon Musk. You're right. I'm right.
in like the late '90s, Kurt Loder was wearing like the black long sleeves to look cool and whatever. I always remember that.
it's not a phase, Tex. God damn. I don't understand.
Yeah. I'm the uncool dad. I get it. It's all good. You darn kids, get off my lawn. You know what you gonna do. Yeah.
Get off your spaces and your iPods and in your heels.
It's like whenever Frank brought this topic up the other day, I was like, I thought MTV was just underage pregnancy shows and virtue signaling.
No.
I thought that's all that they did anymore.
That's all.
I didn't even know they.
To a certain generation of people, that's probably all you know.
Now,
yeah,
maybe.
Right, like
that's what I mean.
I haven't watched MTV in 20 years. I think the last time I watched it, when did Kid Rock video for Ba with the Ba come out? Was that 99, 2000 or something like that?
Or right after that in the early 2000s.
I know. So that was around like the last time that I watched it because I was like, oh, I like this Kid Rock guy. He's cool. Mm-hmm. And I mean, of course, you had to watch the Britney Spears and the Christina Aguilera shaking their butts around on the videos. That was always fun. But besides,
Tex, you wanted.
Yes, it was, Jeremy. It was mandatory.
I was there too. Don't act like
I wanted to be hit one more time. What can we say?
Well, I wanted to hit something, but it wasn't me. But
you just say, "Oops, I
either way."
Yeah.
No,
you're a toxic man, Tex. You're a toxic man.
Oh, I'm the toxic.
You just want someone to give it to him more.
You can just damn near call me the Toxic Avenger, is what you can call me. But I am just unapologetic. I don't care. But now, is MTV even popular? I mean, the last time I was flipping through the channels, all I saw was that show Ridiculousness for like 8 hours. That's all that was on.
Oh man!
And Ridiculousness is basically America's Funniest Home Videos teenager version. Is all that really is. Oh. So
hey! Don't hate on our boy Rob. He's from right here. Don't you dare hate on Rob.
I don't know who Rob is, but I'm assuming he's on that show.
The guy who hosted Ridiculousness is Rob
Deerdick.
Oh, okay.
He's from our area. Like, yeah.
I don't know him, but the cute little blonde he has on the couch, I'm a fan of her. That's all.
Oh my God! I was gonna say, do not say you like Chanel West Coast. I'm gonna.
She can. Screen. I'll buy her dinner anytime she wants. At Slasher Bitch.
You can get
dinner with rat poison in it.
She's gonna get the King Joffrey treatment. She keeps laughing like that. Oh my God!
What should West Coast ever do on that show other than her stupid laugh?
Hey, as pretty as she is, she can sit there and just smile, and she's earned her paycheck.
If you're just watching her on TV, you can just look at her and mute her. Just saying.
I can go to Google and find her and not have to worry about MTV. That's easy. I do have the internet. I may be in the sticks, but I'm not that far out. I do have the internet. How do you think I'm on here? But no, who watches MTV anymore? Well, like I said, besides the pregnant 15-year-old that thinks she's cool because she did what TV said to do.
It's all that damn rock and roll.
This is a big disappointment for me because
it kind of is.
I like the fact that the way that news is put out is changing. Because even when I was a kid, I was kind of a news junkie. I used to watch CNN all the time when I was a kid. It was ESPN and CNN. That was what I used to watch when I got home. When I was in junior high and high school, it was ESPN and CNN. That was all I ever watched. Then Fox News came on. I was like, great, more news to watch. And I kind of dug having that. MTV, like I said, I was a kid. I was finding music about the time that MTV was really catching, like was really hitting like the bullet, like it was really starting to go up. So I got to watch the great
jealous.
Oh, dude, I swear to God, there's a reason why. Like I turned to such an old man when it comes to MTV because I'm like the 20-year-olds have no fucking clue what MTV used to be. Like you could go back and watch like there's a channel I haven't watched in a long time. There's a channel that actually has
MTV Classic.
No, not even MTV Classic.
Isn't that VH1 Classic?
Yeah, but even that stuff
That's not
was just
the same.
like it was
Yeah.
MTV from the early 2000s. It wasn't classic. I mean, just what MTV was in the very beginning when it had guys like God, who were the DJs? Like
Carson
pre-Pauly Shore.
Daly.
Even. No.
Oh, you're
Carson
talking.
Daly
I know
was
who
not,
you're talking about. I know who you're talking
but
about.
like
There
God,
was
they
a
call him the
chick,
Podfather.
Serena Loader. No, not. I'm mixing them up. Kurt Loder, and there's one called Serena, wasn't there?
I don't know.
Why am I going blank on all the old school VJs? But I mean,
I'm
like when
gonna
all they
look
did
it
was play videos, it was great. And then they started like the rockumentaries. Remember those? The rockumentaries were good because they were just like half-hour long documentaries about a band or a thing in music, but it was still
Serena
music.
Altschul. That's her name. Sway Calloway, Chris Conley, Mark Goodman. All those sound very familiar for me.
Who are the old school? Okay, now, damn it.
Brian
It's gonna bug him.
Brian
This is gonna
McBain.
bother me.
Suchin
Of the
Pak.
80s.
I remember Suchin Pak. Tabitha Soren.
Tabitha Soren was the other one who did the MTV News with Kurt Loder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one that's on Joe Rogan's podcast all the time. He was one of the original VJs of MTV. They call him the Podfather because they said he had the first podcast.
Joey Diaz?
No, Martha Quinn was one.
Yeah, I liked her.
God, who am I thinking of? Damn it. Bill Bellamy was on there for a while. Carmen Electra,
Pauly
Carson
Shore.
Day.
If it wasn't for MTV,
Pauly Shore was one of the last good ones.
I know.
if it wasn't for MTV, Pauly Shore wouldn't have had a career, or Andy Dick. Either way, they were both on there.
No, Pauly Shore would have because his mom owned the Comedy Store. Ricky Ratchman, remember him? He did Headbangers Ball and some of the other stuff.
Headbangers Ball was great. Oh my God, I love Headbangers Ball. I'll never forget. I was a kid. It was like
Adam Curry is the one. Adam Curry.
It was like mid-90s, and we went down to Galveston, Texas it just happened to be during spring break, and MTV was down there doing one of those live event deals. I've never seen at that point in my life, that was the most ruckish crowd I had ever seen, and I was like, okay, when I get older, that's where I'm hanging out. Like that, I was like, that looks too cool. So
and this
that was a lot of
might
fun.
be a little too, whatever, but I came from a very conservative family, okay? I wasn't told much about birds of the bees. So when Loveline came on with Adam Carolla and
Jenny
Dr.
McCarthy.
Drew,
Jenny McCarthy.
that show educated me and my friends who grew up in conservative families about what sex was, what dating was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Loveline was the shit. And then there was that show. Remember the show that piggybacked off of it on Comedy Central, The Man Show? Fucking hilarious. I mean,
girls, how could you not? God bless girls jumping on trampolines. That formed so much of my young self's opinion of what a woman should be. God bless Joe Rogan for that. That was just tremendous. So yes, I'm a fan.
Yeah, they had Downtown Julie Brown. Remember her?
Yep, she was great.
Ed Lover and Fab Five Freddy did Yo MTV Raps. They used to watch that shit too. But yeah,
I think the last. What was the? Wait, no, never mind. That show was on CNT. But it's all owned by the same people. They did after Jersey Shore got big on MTV. They did a redneck version of it on CNT, but it was owned produced literally by the same people.
Well, they're all owned by Paramount.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And this show was literally it was like in Florida and Mississippi, I think it was. It was like the redneckiest of the redneck. I mean, they just went to the trailer park and just, hung some spam out to catch a redneck. And
you could hear the banjos.
One of the guys died of an overdose of crystal meth. Another one died in a truck racing accident. They went full on redneck with this thing. And like I said, I think that was the last MTV show that I ever watched, actually. But okay, Carson Daly did Total Request Live, right? Wasn't that what the show was called?
Yes. Yeah, TRL for short. And I remember that every day after school, one of my high school years. It was a cool show. They played the top 10 videos of that day, and then
what pissed me off is they never actually got to the point they wouldn't play the whole video anymore. They would play 20 seconds.
Yeah, they cut the end of it.
Carson Daly, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm here. It's music television. Not pregnant
Right.
teenagers, not cars
Right.
least mugging for the camera,
Right.
not bullshit. Music, television. If you stay out music, I'm happy. It got away from all that, and it became
That's why they
reality
created the
television
second
and not music
channel
television.
where it was just music videos on the other channel, and then the MTV content was everything
Should've
else.
just-
And I think they just got away
in
from
all
it.
fairness, I take a little bit of the blame off MTV for one reason, because YouTube became a thing, and you could go watch
Yeah.
music videos on demand on YouTube at one point. So I don't blame them
For what it was
as much
at
as
the
I
time.
used to. Yeah, for the changes they had to make to stay relevant. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm like, you became kind of a shell of what you once were. So don't try to act like you're still music television.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Right.
the reason why this is kind of a bummer for me is because, like I said, as I was a teenager coming into my own as an adult and trying to figure out what I thought of the world, MTV News they were trying to speak to me as a youth.
Yep.
Back a million years ago when I was a youth. So, because I remember very, very clearly, actually, the day that Kurt Cobain died.
Mhm.
I remember my
Kurt
dad was giving me a
Loder.
ride to school. I was a sophomore in high school at the time, and I had gotten up early for whatever reason, and I was just glued to the TV because I think they had announced it like late that night. I was asleep, and then the news.
But nobody
was
with
really starting to hit
MTV
that
cared
morning.
about it. Let's be honest. They covered
And-
it in a way that no one else did.
Yeah, and I had this one weird moment, like where my dad's generation and my generation, we kind of saw eye to eye, because I was on the way. We were on the way. He was dropping me off at school, and as we were on the way there, it was on the news. My dad was like, "What was so big about this Kurt Cobain guy anyway?" And I had one of those moments where I looked at him. And my dad,
Right.
having grown up in the '60s and '70s, I knew he was a Doors fan. He's why I'm a Doors fan.
Mm.
I looked at him. I said, "He's pretty much my generation's Jim Morrison." And my dad had that moment where he's like, "Oh, okay."
Mhm.
And then in that moment, he got it. So I was like, so that's kind of what that was to me. It's like that was how they got us interested. And I still remember, dude, Bill Clinton got elected because of MTV. MTV in Arsenio Hall. You think I'm bullshitting? Remember, he won. Well, you guys might. Jeremy probably doesn't. This was.
He went on there and played saxophone on Arsenio Hall, right?
He went on there and played saxophone and did the whole thing
Yeah.
and all that.
I know where
And
it comes
he did-
from. Yes.
And he did a lot of shit on MTV as well. I mean, all the Rock the Vote stuff started when Clinton first ran
Yep.
for president. And
That
Wasn't
was a
that with,
big
Rock the
deal.
Vote was a huge thing for like 15 years.
That was with Puff Daddy, right? Wasn't he like a big spokesman for MTV for that?
Well, there was a couple of them.
I vividly remember Puff Daddy was the one. Like whenever I was paying attention to him, Puff Daddy was the big. But this was during the George Bush Al Gore election. I want to say, pretty sure.
Yeah, and AJ Rader brings up another good thing. Kurt Loder and the MTV News covering of Woodstock '99, which was an absolute damn disaster.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys have seen the documentaries on that, but I mean that whole thing.
Yeah, that was a mess.
We're never
Yeah,
going to be able
was
to do that
a mess.
again. So
Yeah, but it was
Right.
like, yeah, that was one of the things that got me even deeper into the news, into what a news cycle was, and wanting to be informed about shit. And then, of course, you know, I grew up a little more and started watching the more serious news. And then, of course, news now is just terrible. But I mean, I look at the way we assimilate news now is changing. It's not the network news anymore. I go back to that, and I think that was a significant change in the way the news was dispersed to the younger generation. Nowadays, you've got Rogan, you've got Tim Pool. The way that we intake news now is a lot different. It's more long form. It's not like 5-minute blocks on CNN or Fox.
Not
It's
that I
much
want
more
to
long
talk
form.
about it too much, but Tucker Carlson now, after the Fox stuff, is literally now an employee of Twitter, and he's going to have a show that is on Twitter and only on Twitter. So even in real time,
Smart
things
move.
are changing. So
Yeah, it's more long form conversations like that is how news is gonna be assimilated to the younger generations now, and it's a better way to intake the news anyway. Having better conversations instead of 30 seconds of somebody on this side and somebody on that side sniping each other, and then it's okay. Now we got to go get sponsored by Pfizer. So it was a big change in news the way it was, and it's disappointing to see it kind of come to an end, because that is kind of like the one last part of my youth that was kind of sticking around. But this shouldn't be a big surprise, because in the last couple of months, let's see, CNN, the Washington Post, NPR, Vox Media, NBC News, and a bunch of others have cut their workforces in recent months. And on top of that, Vice is completely closed.
What do you expect?
Oh, Vice is closing for different reasons, though, because they got in trouble with stuff, and then they tried to get sold so they could still stay in business but be under somebody's thumb, some investor, and at the last minute the deal fell through, and yeah, they're fucked.
But yeah, it's I don't know, the way that you deliver news changes over time. I mean, I was watching this channel on YouTube for the longest time. This guy Dan Notch News, and what this guy would do is he wasn't a news person. He would just gather old clips of news footage from history and put it on his channel to watch. So you could go watch at one point like ABC's news coverage of the Kennedy assassination. So like the whole broadcast when Cronkite makes that announcement of Kennedy's death, the attempted assassination on Reagan, that like 5 or 6 hours of CNN coverage of that whole thing happening, and his speech to the AFL-CIO, which is still one of my favorite speeches he's ever given. They had like 9/11 coverage from 4 or 5 different networks, including one of the local networks. Challenger disaster, the Columbia disaster. I mean, all kinds of big things, like when the war in Iraq started back in the 90s, stuff like that. I've gone back and watched some of these, and I'm like, damn, you can see very clearly how delivering the news has changed over the years. It's like even going back to like 9/11, something fairly recent. It's so crazy about how much the delivery of the news has changed. Then of course you go back to like Cronkite and some of those things, like the Apollo 13 thing and all that. They had all the news coverage for that. It was just crazy stuff.
Let's be honest. Nobody, whether you're right or left or in the middle, it doesn't matter. Nobody trusts mainstream news of any source anymore because it's all biased. It's all depending on who's feeding them money is where they're going to go. There's no integrity in journalism anymore. And anybody with a Twitter account or a YouTube channel thinks they're a news broadcaster. So it's
they kind of are anymore. Citizen journalism, thanks to YouTube, thanks to Twitter, thanks to all the social media.
Yeah.
Now citizen journalism is like a real thing. The problem the problem is to be a journalist, you also have to do a little bit of research and digging. And there's so many people out there.
That's the part some people do struggle with. But
there's so many people out there they'll read one headline and then they're like, oh my God, Trump is having sex with aliens who let him pee on him, and like that becomes the whole story.
Well, okay. Look at it from what we talk about here with movies. How often do we see, Denzel Washington's going to play Iron Man, and they don't source anything, but they get it out first and it gets legs, and then you see 100 YouTube channels talking about it, even though they don't source, Deadline or, any credible source. They just throw it out there. It's not about being right. It's about being first. And we live in a 24-hour news cycle. Well, if people,
I know what you're saying. Like,
if people are only watching,
apologize later.
Right. If you even apologize, you just sweep it under the rug and talk about something else. That's what they do. But it's just
big headline that says Trump gets peed on by Russian hooker, and then when he gets proved wrong, it's like that little paragraph at the bottom of the lifestyle section. Like, oh, sorry, we had that wrong, and nobody reads it.
But here's the thing: if most Americans were honest, would they care if it was true?
No.
I wouldn't.
No.
That's his personal
people don't want truth; they want their bias confirmed. That's all they're looking for.
Sensationalism. They want the.
I agree.
It's like, what is the phrase? It's clickbait. They just want. They want someone to click on something. They don't necessarily care about putting the content in. They want people to notice it, not actually like it. And in prior generations, there was actual effort into how they delivered the news because they wanted people to understand and want to hear it. Now it's just about, look at this for a second, and then I'm going to move on because I'm trying to get advertisers.
By the way, if anyone ever follows the YouTuber known as Daz Black, they did a hilarious parody-esque type song about clickbait, and it's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. It's making fun of clickbait, and it's because it is just dumb shit.
Well, see, that's the thing though. When it comes to MTV, it stopped being music television decades ago. Then it became, I think, Extreme Chef in the comments said that MTV created the reality show, and I mean, to a point, I have to agree with it. I mean, was it a Real World?
Yes.
Oh, the Real World, yeah.
Real World, yeah.
Big Brother pretty early on, right around that time.
Yeah.
Too.
Right, but I think Real World beat out Big Brother, though. I'm not sure, but I think they beat him out to it. But then, of course, there was different versions, and Jersey Shore and the country one, whatever. But here's the problem now. let's not forget the whole MTV hates white people thing. That was a pretty big deal too, not too long ago. They pretty much became political cannon fodder for the left, trying to influence that youthful generation, like Frank was talking about whenever they talked to him in his youth. And when you're just reruns
they were
of
much more impartial back in the 80s and 90s, though.
Oh yeah, but they're not now.
No, yeah, not now.
Yeah, no.
Back in the 80s
anymore,
and 90s, they're just
impartial. Anymore now, they're just set pieces for the left to, once it becomes an election year, I support the thing, right? Isn't that what everybody says now? So,
bandwagon.
It's right too. It's
bandwagon.
It's not just the left. Everybody.
I'm not saying the right doesn't do it. I'm saying the left uses the MTV vein to do it. The right has their sources as well. It's all a big game. It's all a scam. It's whatever.
Well,
but
the thing with like we're talking about the citizen journalism, why do you think they want to shut down some of these things? The problem is this age of the internet, when shit just happens that fast, as soon as it's out there, it's out there, and now millions of people can see
instant gratification. Yes.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Is like, why do you think they want to shut some of this shit down? Because people can get that and not be like, I'm not hearing this from a news studio. I'm not hearing this from, like you said, someone who's got a biased agenda.
Right.
We're all informing each other, and like I said, the ones who at least get past the, Trump getting peed on by Russian aliens or whatever the hell you just said.
Russian aliens.
I don't know what it was. See what I mean?
Aliens.
Hey, if anyone
somebody photo.
Let's add that to the moon. Trump getting peed on by Russian aliens on the moon. That's a space.
I will only
force base on the moon.
I will only agree to that if Joe Biden's in the corner whacking off watching. Okay, that's the only way I'll agree.
Like I said,
keep it down the middle. Keep it down the middle here.
If he doesn't fall asleep trying to do it, Jesus Christ. He has like a heart attack when he fucking climaxes anyway.
His heart rate gets above 80 and that's it.
I hate you all.
Where's Jill? Where's Jill? He's over in the corner looking for Jill. That's what he's
saying. Bad touch, all of you.
I try to say, make sure nobody from the Onion's watching the show because they will fucking run that ad. And that would be funny.
Hey, Onion, if you six and say, credit where it's due. Twitter accounts are on the screen. That's all I'm saying.
If they're going to do it, make sure they say it happened at the moon base for the Space Force agency.
Yeah,
created.
Why not?
With Nick Fury.
I was saying he picked up a Captain America cosplay on the moon.
Too. BJ asked the question: isn't it more about who owns the news station? It's actually not so much about the owners, because news stations aren't independently owned anymore. They're not locally owned.
Right.
It's like Jeremy. I'm sure you've heard a lot of these names, and Cora and Tex too. I mean, Westwood One, Clear Channel, Radio Channel. One is another one. They're the ones that own all the stations, radio and TV. So really, it's all about affiliation because it's like I know KTLA. Kind of the problem. I subscribe to KTLA in Los Angeles because that's where the car chases are, and they have car chases every 10 minutes in LA. It's like they're a Fox affiliate, so they get a bunch of money from Fox every year to be an affiliate. So when something big happens, KTLA is going to start the news coverage, and then they're kicking it over to Fox News, and Fox News is going to broadcast on their air because they're affiliates. So they're going to let their big Fox News people, whoever that might be at the time, do all the coverage of whatever's breaking. So like 9/11 was the same thing. Fox News pretty much started taking over all these stations when that was going on because they were doing the live coverage. But that's kind of there's no more independent stations anymore. I mean, there might be a few here and there, but for the most part, they don't really get much. But it's disappointing. I mean, look, MTV's been dead for a long time. I just think that I'm not surprised that this is happening because nobody's getting their news from MTV anymore. It's not 25 years ago. It's today. Well,
don't you think they'll be saving the company so MTV still exists if they kind of trim the fat a little on things that are bringing in any viewership?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's why they did it. But the problem is MTV is just not relevant anymore. So I don't know. I mean, if it's because there's a difference between profitability and relevance. As long as they're still profitable, they're probably just like, whatever, keep putting shit on the air. I swear to God, the last time I even looked at MTV, it was 5 or 6 straight hours of ridiculousness with Rob Dyrdek. And I was like, I have an idea. How about you put some fucking music videos on your air for a couple hours? It's like, how about you take a step back and go back to what you used to be, and then maybe you'll draw a few people back in. Maybe somebody like me who grew up with MTV, in its peak, might be like, you know what? Even if it is just for a couple hours of music videos, I'll watch just to see what happens, And then maybe for a while pop in the old MTV news. It doesn't have to be Kurt Loder or Cat with the Sword, which is the two that I
You
find.
mean you're not entertained by 14 and pregnant or whatever it is, Frank? That's not your jam?
Honestly, the town I live in, if I want to see a bunch of pregnant 14-year-olds, all I have to do is go.
We could just go walk around. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
seriously.
no. Me and Frank could just hop in the car, go live, and go fucking like, look, there's a crack whore.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
It's like that Catholic church that's in my town, Jeremy. They have that festival every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what when I used to go there. I haven't been there in years, but when I used to go there, that's what I would call it. I'd be like, well, it's time to go play Count the Pregnant Teenagers. That's exactly what I would do. Is I would order them. They would cook a great sausage.
That's the same joke I used to make about cops. Yeah. If we ever wanted to watch cops, we just drive into town and see all the rednecks running out of trailer parks with no shirts on. Both men and women. It's easy.
We can do that here too. Trust me, we gotta.
Right. Yeah.
It's a weird, diverse amount of people.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. MTV is. I mean, I think Frank nailed it on the head there a minute ago. They're irrelevant when all you have is 15, 14 and pregnant and ridiculousness. Why? Especially in the day of, I guarantee you I could go on YouTube right now and see a whole playlist of episodes of that. I don't even have to turn on MTV. I don't need to go watch your nonsense and get commercials. I can just, do it this way.
I think we can draw from that hilarious. One of the good things about Anchorman 2 is when he comes out there, he's like, yeah, it's kind of true. The market has become quite saturated.
Well, even a network like ESPN. I used to love watching Sports Center. I could sit there and watch Sports Center for hours and never be bored. Until one day hit and I'm like, they're just recycling topics and talking about it from this side of it, then they go to the other side. 24 hours of anything is kind of a bad thing in a way, because you get overloaded with content too much. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It is what it is. But
you watch your mouth, sir. That is a Christmas tradition. If I watch a 24 hours of a Christmas story.
The fact that TBS is TBS or TNT, I can't remember which one it is, but it's TBS. One of those two channels will show A Christmas Story, National Lampoon Christmas, which I love. That's my favorite. Mm-hmm. Just back to back for like 2 days. That's all that they play over and over. It's just one of those things.
Bad Santa. What's your Bad Santa in there too?
Bad Santa.
Fucking great movie. Santa. You want some sandwiches, boys? You want me to make some sandwiches?
Last time I let you come in, I did shit right for a week.
Keep the hat on. Keep the hat on. There you go.
Oh, goodness. But I mean, I don't know. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Has it been a long time coming? Is MTV just now no longer relevant? Personally, I don't think it is. I don't think MTV is going to last much longer. I think within the next 5 to 10 years, MTV is just going to be gone. Either that or they're going to sell it off.
Social media platform with the YouTube channel.
Yeah, because there's not a million of those.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, but go
that already.
I bet you they already got one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think about MTV News closing down. Is MTV as a whole all that far behind? Lady Cora, what's the last topic we'll be talking about tonight?
Well, Warner Brothers has set a date to return to the world of Beetlejuice. The studio's carved out a September 6, 2024 date for Beetlejuice 2, the long gestating sequel to Tim Burton's 1988 amazing feature that starred Michael Keaton as the titular ghost with the mostest. The film will reunite Burton with his Wednesday star Jenna Ortega, who sources say will play the daughter of Lydia, the character played by Winona Ryder in the first installment. Keaton is expected to return as well as the feature and the feature has a script from Wednesday creators Alfred Gu, I'm sure I said that wrong, and Miles Mylar. Tex, do you think this news I'm having trouble reading, sorry. I worked 12 hours today, my eyes are blurry. Tex, does this news have you saying his name 3 times?
I love me some Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is Michael Keaton's greatest role ever. It's not Batman. It's not Mystery Mom. It's Beetlejuice. And I will fight anybody on that. I'm excited for this. We live in the age of nostalgia everything gets remade. But how can you not go back and watch Beetlejuice and not just fall in love with that character? The zaniness, the outrageousness. I mean, it was like just everything that makes movies great. You know, Michael Keaton nailed the role. I mean, he's obviously in a resurgence right now. He's, back as Batman and Flash. So maybe do we get Mr. Mom 2, the sequel that we've been waiting on for all these years, basically?
with two guys. Oh,
yeah,
great.
we can have Michael Keaton come out as a homosexual, and he's now Mr. Mom with like a wig on or something. It can be a whole thing. But it's no, I'm excited for this. I just hope it holds up. That's the only thing. I mean, obviously we cover these, it seems like weekly these days of, oh my God, why are they making another one? This one works just fine. This one is different for me. I love Beetlejuice. I'm a fan. I've owned Beetlejuice on every format of video that I could.
Is the soundtrack amazing too, though? Beyond the movie itself, the soundtrack.
Everything about this movie was great. Mm-hmm. I mean, Beetlejuice is. It's still they haven't had any new media in decades, and yet it's still one of those franchises that Spirit Halloween has tons of new merchandise every year for.
Really?
In the store. Yes.
I had no idea.
When you go into a Spirit, it is, yes. You can go to a Hot Topic, a Spencer's, a Spirit Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Beetlejuice is one of those franchises like a Nightmare Before Christmas or whatever that has lasted. It never really went away. So I just want this one to be, I hope they don't get too big budget with it. I want it to give me the looks of the old film, but updated a little bit, if that makes any sense. Give me the claymation looking kind of stuff that, don't go too CGI with it, because
you want it to look like Beetlejuice. You won't look polished like a fucking Marvel movie.
Right. And God, what does Beetlejuice's wife going to look like? That's what I'm curious about.
Oh, boy.
I posted in the DM group, I'm sure y'all saw the confirmed list of who's playing who. And they have some French or Italian woman playing his wife. I've never heard of this chick.
Wait, you're talking about
Monica Bellucci?
Monica Bellucci? Hold on, sir. Did you ever see...
That's Jim Belushi's relative daughter, isn't it?
Not really. It's not Bellucci, it's Bellucci.
Bellucci, yeah. French
did
or
Italian. Tex, did you ever watch the second and third Matrix movies?
A long time ago, but yes.
You remember the woman who was the Frenchman's wife?
Yeah.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Her.
Oh, that's her.
I was like, I'm surprised you're not like drooling. I was like, I was drooling.
Okay, I didn't know that was her. I didn't look up her film.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't look up her filmography whenever I saw her posting. I just saw the name, but
no, I saw the name and I knew that's the difference.
Well,
like, oh,
that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, we know what Beetlejuice looks like and what he's all about. What's his wife going to be? Do they go zany as him, or do they kind of go polar opposite to kind of play off of it?
Is she going to be dark, or is she going to be pretty?
Well, maybe she herself is strange and unusual. I don't know.
Like, which version of Harley Quinn are we going to get,
Please, Margot Robbie, not Lady Gaga. I don't need Lady Gaga.
And let me tell you something about this movie. I watched this movie when I was a kid, and you can laugh all you want, and you guys have license to tease me about this in the future. This movie is why I don't eat shrimp. I'm not joking.
I understand. We understand. We've seen the movie.
That's great.
All right.
That's great.
It scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Shrimp is delicious, by the way.
It is.
You're missing
until
out.
it tries to eat your face.
Yeah, until it tries to eat your face. That's true.
I don't know. I'm of two minds about this. One is that I kind of want to see it because Tim Burton's going to be directing it apparently, and he directed the first one. And the first one, I mean, it did good money. It didn't do great money. I mean, even for the 80s, but I mean, it's well loved. It's a classic. It's one of the 3 or 4 Tim Burton movies that don't 100% suck. But I mean, let's see what it made. It made $80 million in a $15 million budget. That's not bad for 1980, whatever. 88, I think. 88. 88. That's not bad for 1988, especially considering that it wasn't. Well, remember, this was the year before Batman came out.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah,
right before Batman
came out in '89. They went from this to that.
Keaton had to do this in order to get Batman because prior to this he was just Mr. Mom and they didn't want him for the role. You know what I mean?
But well, I mean, he had done Mr. Mom. He done Gung Ho. It was a really funny movie.
Right, but Warner Brothers wasn't going to give him Batman crazy until they saw how this went. You know what I mean?
But I mean, the thing is for one, I've said it 100 times. Tim Burton is hit or miss as a filmmaker. That there is no in between. Either his movies are terrible or they're really good. The Wonka movie he did was terrible, but I mean, he did like movies from Not From Hell. Sleepy Hollow was good.
Yeah. I
still say that his first big work ever is the best movie he's ever made. That was Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Damn it, that movie is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Like everybody says. but I mean, but his movies are
There's
so
no basement in the Alamo.
Yeah, his movies are so hit or miss. I'm afraid this movie is going to be a miss because you can't just do the same thing over again. You have to do something to satisfy today's crowd while at the same time playing on the nostalgia of the people like us who kind of grew up watching the original. And I don't know if he can do that because, like I said, he's so hot or cold.
He did pretty good with Wednesday. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but it seems to be praised pretty much universally.
And Wednesday is good, but even then, it's like it wasn't just like him running the whole thing. He still had other people. There were other because it wasn't just him. Who was it that did Wednesday with him? There was a couple other writers and stuff like that, or another producer. Or no, he was a producer.
I thought he directed.
I thought maybe he was just one of the producers. Let me look and make sure.
Yeah, I could have swore he directed Wednesday for Netflix.
Because if he did do something, if he did have more of a role with it. Let's see, starring blah blah blah. I need to actually open this page up to see it. But Wednesday was a lot of fun. I mean, Jennifer started watching it, and she got me into it, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
I still need to see it, but I've heard it was really good.
Starring, based on characters by Charles Adams, composers Danny Elfman, of course, because why not? He was one of the there were 25 executive producers. He's one of them. So I mean, whatever. As far as directed by, he directed the first 4 episodes, and then after that there was a couple other people.
4 out of how many?
Out of 8. So after that was.
So he did half of it.
Ganja Monterio and James Marshall directed split the last.
I know the name James Marshall, but not the other guy.
James Marshall, Canadian, Smallville, Did Like Me, the OC. And
I know that name, but I don't know from where I've heard that name.
But so yeah, I mean, he directed the first 4 episodes. I mean, the series as a whole was pretty good. But I mean, like I said, he's really hot or cold. Another thing I don't want to look. Another thing about this is we don't have to make Jen Ortega the goth girl and everything she's fucking in. You know what I mean?
I was like, you said she's in it, and then there's like a Wednesday producer. I'm like, okay, so just Wednesday Addams. We're gonna keep going to Wednesday Addams.
Yeah,
we get it. We get it.
She's just gonna be Wednesday Addams, but instead of Wednesday, we're calling her Little Deets, Lydia Jr. or whatever the fuck her name is.
She was pretty much Wednesday Addams in Scream 6 with the death stare she had in her very first frame.
I know that.
I mean.
There's a darkness in a horror movie that I kind of get, but she wasn't playing Wednesday. And then she goes and plays Wednesday, which I enjoyed. It was fun, but whatever. I don't want to see her. Now, if you really want to shake things up a little bit, have her be Lydia's daughter, but have her be all bright and bubbly like her roommate on Wednesday, like blonde hair and like
that'd be awesome.
That would be great.
Have her be like the diametric opposite of Lydia. That would be fun. And then like her relationship with Beetlejuice becomes kind of its own thing. That would be fun. That would be different. That might give her a different dimension. I don't want to just do a shot-for-shot remake of the first movie. I think that'd be boring.
Well, I don't think they will. I think they'll probably do like an Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness thing here. And, you know, the first few minutes of it will be similar enough to remind you of what came before. Then they'll move on to something else if they're smart. But, you know, it's I don't know. This is a very popular property. Wow, that was a choice. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm hopeful for it. I do agree. Tim Burton can go hot or cold on me. Hell, his Planet of the Apes film with Mark Wahlberg is unwatchable, basically. But it's go. Yeah, no. I saw it once and I said I'll never see this again. Right.
Damn you.
that, I don't know. I wouldn't trust this property in anybody else's hands that I could think of.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, well, he made that movie and it was awesome. So I would hope and like to think that, he could still do this again. It's like, yeah, it's not going to be the first movie, but hey, that's where the fun part can come in.
And obviously the comedic timing of Michael Keaton at however old he was when they made the first one to now is very different. I mean, just go back and watch that Flash trailer. There's not a lot of action scenes that are clearly Michael Keaton. You can tell who's a stuntman and who's not in that trailer.
Yeah.
You can tell it's Michael Keaton when he's sitting there saying, "You want to get nuts? Well, let's get nuts." But whenever it's an action scene, it's somebody else. So Beetlejuice is a pretty active dude. I mean, how are they going to play that out? You know what I mean?
A lot of makeup and shit like that, man. You can do it.
Well, that's the whole thing is, it's...
you tell me Batman still doesn't have comedic timing with Flash said, Batman, what do we do? Now we try not to die. I was like,
right, yeah.
I was dying watching that trailer. I'm like, damn it, man.
Well, he's playing a very dry elder statesman, which is what Michael Keaton is. Does that still translate to Beetlejuice? I'm not sure if it does or not. You know what I mean? That's the one thing. I'm more concerned with Michael Keaton than I am Tim Burton, but I'm still excited for it.
Well, Michael Keaton's shown how good of an actor he is a lot of times since the first Beetlejuice came out.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's done drama, he's done comedy, he's done a lot of
I need to see that. What was that movie he did? Birdman or something?
That's a fucking amazing movie.
I was going to say,
I need to see that. I need to see Birdman.
So good.
That's got my girl Emma Stone in it, but trust me, man, it's a fucking good movie.
Oh, God, I hate her. Oh,
that movie is so good. I mean, and the top, I just realized there's actually a couple of names that are kind of persona non grata in Hollywood right now. I remember Alec Baldwin was in it, and I don't know if they're going to have him back.
Right. Yeah, he won't. He won't be coming back.
Gina Davis could come back. I don't know if she would or not. I think she's pretty much kind of been out of acting for a while. Jeffrey Jones himself has had a few problems.
Last thing I saw Gina Davis in, she played Reagan in the Exorcist TV show. It's the last thing I saw her in.
Huh.
Catherine O'Hara, I thought I read something about they might bring her back somehow. Of course, Winona Ryder is going to come back, and Michael Keaton's going to come back. Here's I can tell you right now. Here's why they're pushing this movie. Number one, because they were probably talking to Jenna Ortega about it a while back. After her popularity from playing these darker characters has become a thing. So they're like, you know what, you'd be a good junior, smaller, younger version of Lydia Dietz. So we're just going to go do that again. That's exactly how it's going to turn out. That's my guess anyway. So, but there's two people here. There's Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder. Michael Keaton's obviously gone through a bit of a career uptick the last several years. And so has Winona Ryder because she's been in not only Stranger Things, she's been in a couple other things that have done well. A couple of small independent projects, but she's been very well received. So now you've got your two main actors. They're kind of on the uptick. So you're like, okay, now's the time to strike while the iron's hot because Michael Keaton, from what I've heard, pretty much carries the Flash movie, and Winona Ryder's doing very, very well.
Sure ain't going to be child predator Ezra Miller. Somebody's got to.
And even Catherine O'Hara, I mean, she was in Schitt's Creek, which ran for 5 years and was like one of the, I haven't watched an episode of it, but a lot of people I know that have said that show was funny as hell. So, I mean, she's still doing very well. I mean, Gina Davis maybe comes back for a cameo. I mean, she doesn't really have to, but I mean, maybe you have her come back for something just for shits and giggles. She'd probably do it. But I mean, I don't know. I think that's why this is happening because mostly Michael Keaton's kind of on a hot streak right now. And whatever. I'll for one, let's be honest here. We talked a lot earlier about Black Adam took a long time to get going. The Flash took a long time to get going. You know how long they've been talking about a sequel to this movie?
10, 15 years. Yeah.
For 30 fucking years.
I was going to say probably since the fucking 90s, yeah.
I read stuff about a potential sequel to Beetlejuice, no shit, like in 1991. Like I remember, come to think of it, I remember Kurt Loder doing a story about a Beetlejuice sequel on MTV.
See, there you go.
Crossover.
Right.
And that was 1991 or 92, and I was just like, whatever, bring it on. So here's the deal: I'll believe this movie is actually going to happen when I'm halfway through my second showing of this movie.
That's what I'm saying. Show me a trailer, and I'll start to believe it.
I honestly, I won't even believe the trailer. I mean, because I don't know. Like I said, Keaton's on a hot streak. Ryder's on a bit of a hot streak. Catherine O'Hara is still doing very well. So you've got 3 of these 6 original casts that could play a part. Keaton and Ryder, obviously a bigger part. Maybe Catherine O'Hara to an extent. Maybe Gina Davis. So, I mean, but they're on a hot streak. They're the 2 main characters of the original film anyway. Let's face it, Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis were very secondary characters to all that. It was all Lydia and Beetlejuice. So, I mean, maybe... So this is probably going to happen, but honestly, I'll believe it when I'm sitting there and I see the title card come up says Beetlejuice 2 or whatever the hell the title's going to be. I'll believe it.
Even the ticket that he buys in the theater,
it's like,
it's not going to be enough.
Like, nope.
I don't know what I'm giving you this money for, but I'm going to go sit down. Oh my God, wouldn't it be great? Frank buys a ticket to Beetlejuice 2 when they show like Pearl Harbor. Or just some completely opposite thing. Just, just like,
it's not a bad movie.
Instead of Beetlejuice 2, we're showing 3 episodes of The Munsters. Here you go. Good luck. Whatever. It's just one of those things.
That'd be funny. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Cora, I know we've kind of run you over a little bit. I mean, what do you hope to see in this? What would be a good Beetlejuice movie for you?
A sequel to the Book of the Dead, and I want both copies with all the content inside. I would like
Book of the Dead. I know a franchise that just had a movie come out. If you wanted to,
or the Guide to the Undead or whatever
The recently deceased.
Yes,
how about a Necronomicon Ex Mortis?
You're welcome.
And I want to see the covered bridge. And I want someone to be wearing that iconic flannel that Gina Davis' husband, Alec Baldwin, wore in it. I want someone to wear that as a nod to his character and the costuming.
And then he shoots somebody in the face.
I'm not going to get shot. Yeah.
I didn't do it. I get away with it. I didn't do it. I'm liberal. I'm free. Thank you. I get to go away. So that works.
I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I think you don't fuck with what's great. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I keep saying, but like.
Well, I mean, we're making very similar arguments for Twisters or whatever Twister 2 is going to be as we did for that topic. You know what I mean? It's. I feel like.
Well, just like we were talking about with Harry Potter, it's like that's a little too damn soon. Don't remake it.
Right, but with Beetlejuice, like the difference between like Beetlejuice and Twister here is at least you're able to bring back the star of Beetlejuice, whereas Twister, unfortunately, we can't bring back Bill Paxton, God rest his soul. You know what I mean?
Or Phil often.
Yeah. No, so we could bring back Carrie Elwes, but we're going to have to rewrite some things.
Yeah,
we can bring back Helen Hunt, but
he kind of went kaboom. So I don't know.
I'll tell you who this movie. This movie is going to be one of those hot topic movies. This is going to sell a ton of merchandise. They're going to make more money off the merch than they will on the film, probably by tenfold. So this is going to be a product placement movie. This is what this is going to be. So there'll be Funko Pops, T-shirts, lunchboxes, every little thing. It's going to be out for sale. So they'll make their money on it.
I don't know. I'm like whatever. Again, it's just Jenna Ortega's just going to be playing the same role that we always see her in, just a different name.
Oh, I know what you could do, Frank. Once it's made, you go buy your ticket. You do a remote live from your cell phone. Go to like a screening, like in the middle of the day, so there's nobody there, right? And you're holding the phone on your face, so you're not getting copyright. And you're like, I don't think this is going to happen. I'm only getting previews. I haven't seen a title card yet.
I think even the audio would get me, but yeah.
You can figure it out. Either way, do something fun with it. Get some kind of content out of it.
I know what he should do. Like, you just see the credits rolling. He turns around to Frank. He's like, "No, I don't think that was it." That's it. Just like, nope, I still don't think that was it.
That was it. I still think it was just a really long trailer. It was a 2-hour-long
It
trailer.
was a 2-hour trailer, damn it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to go back and watch the cartoon Beetlejuice. I always liked that too. That was fun.
This is the movie that this is scheduled for September 6, 2024, which is supposed to be Blade's release date.
Oh, crap.
Okay.
But it says in this article that Warner may be counting on Blade moving. I would imagine.
I don't think Blade wants to go against Beetlejuice. I think Beetlejuice would get a bigger audience on that.
Oh no, Blade's an MCU film. It's going to have the marketing of an MCU film behind it. There's no way. But I mean, but just because it would draw better than Beetlejuice doesn't mean it would draw enough to be considered a success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Why are they not releasing Beetlejuice at Halloween? That's weird.
September, man. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
it'll be there for Halloween.
I wouldn't release that thing outside of October if that was me.
That's
well, the idea that would be, at least from my point of view, this is my guess, is that you release it September 6th, assuming it keeps that date. There's a lot that could happen in the next year and a half. But maybe they actually start shooting Blade. Blade holds on to that September 6th date, and they decide to move it back a couple of weeks. But I mean, you release it September 6th, you get that initial draw, that initial bump, and then as it starts to tail off a little bit, Halloween comes around, and then you're in there again for Halloween, so you get a bit of a bump through the Halloween season, so you actually make more money because you've only got a 45-day theatrical.
Well,
window.
yeah,
45.
You're right.
On streaming or secondary media, so
yeah, they can release it on digital on Halloween Day or some shit like that.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I was gonna say we start mid September, son. That's spooky season.
Yeah. Oh, dude, spooky season never stops in my house. What are you talking about?
It doesn't stop here either. I'm just saying.
It is Halloween. Halloween is written on every day of my calendar. Like, hold on. You know what I'm talking about.
Let me rephrase. I get paid to do it in mid-September.
Right. Yeah. I'm volunteer the rest. Yeah. The rest of it's for volunteer days. I do it for free. Hell, I pay to do it, but it is what it is.
I'll still do it for free. I mean, I'd still like to get paid, but hey.
Big T says, I call it now. They're going to have Post Malone do a modern cover and jump in the line.
Oh, God.
I could see some nonsense like that.
I don't know. I don't mind Post
I don't know.
He's all right.
I'm hopeful for this one because I enjoyed the first one so much. So, whether that's, fanboy opinion or whatever, that's fine. Call it what you will. But, the first Beetlejuice, huh?
No, I was going to say, I put it to everybody watching before the stream started. Are you excited for Beetlejuice 2? There's 15 votes in right now, and 73% of you are saying yes. I don't know. Do I want it to be awesome? Fuck yeah, I want it to be awesome. I want it to be awesome just like the first one. Do I think there's going to be a little bit of diminishing returns? Probably, because, like I said, I don't have all the faith in the world in Tim Burton. I don't know if it's just going to be Jenna Ortega being Lydia Jr. That would be kind of boring to me, unless something really fucking kooky happens that takes my mind off it. I kind of would like to see was it R-rated? Beetlejuice? What was the rating of that?
I don't think so.
Well,
PG-13, wasn't it?
It might have been PG-13 because we didn't have that until.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, hold on. Wasn't it Gremlins that did that? So you're getting kind of close in that time period. So it's.
Yeah.
It might have. I would say PG-13. I don't think it quite. It may not quite.
It wasn't R.
No,
I don't
think so.
think anyways.
It was probably PG-13. There was.
But even back then, PG. But you also have to take into account PG films back then could say like F-bombs once or twice.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I'm like, you didn't quite have that just yet.
Right. They didn't have the advanced ratings censorship nonsense that we have now.
For fuck's sake, Howard the Duck is like PG. I'm like, that is not a PG movie.
Right. There's literal bestiality in that film, and it's PG. I mean, come on, good Lord.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I am cautiously optimistic for this, but I'm still, part of me is just kind of like, I don't know if I want this or not. I don't
Well,
know
okay,
if it's
Frank. Well, let me ask you a question then. You were optimistic about the Munsters, and this is a very similar property to what the Munsters is. Do you kind of feel? Oh, that's right. You weren't. Okay. No. You were. Okay. Well, do you get kind of a similar feeling of how you did when the Munsters trailer was?
Well, the big problem here to me is Jenna Ortega just playing Wednesday. It's not a new character. It's going to be old hat. The other problem to me is Tim Burton. He's, like I said, to me, he's hot or cold. I know the people who are big time Tim Burton apologists, and I know a few people who are like you with Rob Zombie. It's like, I don't give a shit what he makes. I love it. It's awesome. I don't care if I've even seen it yet. I know it's
Rob Zombie is king. All hell.
And I know people that feel that way about Tim Burton. Everything he makes is gold, and I'm like, no, it really isn't. It's really, if you approach it objectively, it's really not gold. It's actually, some of these things are kind of garbage, and it's like. So to me, it's that I don't really know if he's going to do this any justice. I am given some comfort by the fact that he did the original, and I like that movie. It was a good movie for his filming style. I love the Batman movies with Michael Keaton. They fit his dark filming style. There are some things like the Wonka movie he did, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I've had all kinds of people give me all kinds of excuses as to why that movie is great. I'm like, no, it's really not, especially when you hold it up to the original. It doesn't hold a candle to the original. Johnny Depp was terrible in that movie. And I like Johnny Depp as an actor. I mean, all the other stuff notwithstanding. Johnny Depp is a fucking dude. He's a killer. He's a Hall of Famer. He's great. But that movie was awful. It was awful directed. It was awfully written. It was awfully acted. The image that they portrayed of Wonka was just stupid. That was a bomb, in my opinion. Creatively, it was terrible. And I watched the movie a couple of times trying to find something good about it, and I just can't. I really just can't. So I mean, that to me is like, is Tim Burton going to bring his A game, or is he going to flop? Is he going to try to go? Is he going to try to go in some stupid direction because he's going to be like, I'm Tim Burton artist and I'm going to do this, and it's going to be like, well, you still have to operate in these parameters of expectations that fans have, because when you did the first Beetlejuice movie, there was no Beetlejuice to compare it to. So you could get artistic, you get wild. I mean, the claymation stuff. I mean, I know it seems really creative now. But I mean, that was actually some pretty high-end fucking CGI back in the day. I remember watching that, being like, "Damn, a giant sandworm with the black and white stripes with Beetlejuice's face on it? Hell yeah, that's great CGI." Nowadays, it's like, good God. Right?
Very similar when you look when you look back on it. It's very similar to what they were doing with Freddy Krueger and all his dreamscapes at that time period as well. Like just right before that, it was very similar work that they did. I always appreciated that. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not.
We'll see.
I'm not overly confident. Well, taking a wait and see approach. I'm not going to shit on it just yet, but I'm taking a wait and see approach. Again, it's just one of those things. It's like, why does he feel like he wants to go back and do it? And for all the people who say, well, it's not making any original IP in Hollywood anymore, blah blah blah, I give you this one more time.
Because, like I said,
but it's complete bullshit.
You know.
There's your original IP right there, your original movie. Go watch that shit. But
you want that to be a franchise? Sure.
No, I do.
Well, just imagine if this chip movie hits, then Doritos going to get one, Tostitos, you know, the whole chip verse. You know, it's going to be great. And then they can do sequels on like Queso. How was Queso made? You know, or like Guac or whatever. I mean, they can just go nuts with this whole thing.
I can deal with the Guacamole movie. I just want a documentary about how Guacamole is made.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see a Queso movie. I want to see a movie made about Queso starring Danny Trejo, directed by Robert Rodriguez. That's what I want to see. Book it. Let's do this thing. So
that would be, that's an Oscar-winning idea right there.
That's what I'm telling you. You know,
hey, we got a writer's strike. Hire us, Hollywood.
I'm not even union. I'll scab. I'll cross the finish line. I don't care. You know, hire me. You know, I work.
Rachel wants a Takis movie with Mark Flair in it.
A Takis movie will fit into my chip verse. It's going to be great. Everything from Fritos to Tostitos,
what about Doritos? What about Pringles? Maybe
there's like 15 kinds of Doritos. That's a whole universe in itself.
But then you have to bring in Bugles doing some Wolverine shit on the fingers, just like
Bugles are going to be like Oh no, Pringles are going to be my antagonist because they come in the tube, right?
What about those pretzels with cheese and peanut butter in the middle? What are those called?
Oh, like I said, there's so much
combos.
There we go. We got another one.
That's what I'm saying. There's a whole new universe we're tapping into thanks to Eva Longoria here at her Chip movie. So, this is great. I'm down.
Yeah, thanks, Eva Longoria. We appreciate everything you've done for us. I appreciate you sending us down that rabbit hole. So thank you, Eva Longoria.
I'm gonna start writing the first film tonight when we get off of here. I'm gonna get my universe set up.
And when we go to accept our awards, we have to thank her for it.
There's the final poll in the chat. 73% of you said you're excited for Beetlejuice 2. 26% said no. That's out of 15 votes. So that's right about where I thought it would be. I mean, I figured maybe a little bit more, one or two more people would be excited for it. But again, I'm kind of, I don't know. To me, the wild card is Tim Burton. Is he going to bring his A game, or is he just going to ship it in? Because he does that from time to time, in my opinion. But anyway. Go down the comments below. Let us know what you guys think about Beetlejuice 2. Are you interested in seeing it? Are you interested in Jenna Ortega doing dark girl stuff again? Being emo again? Are you interested
I still want her to be a killer in Scream 7. Just saying.
Are you into more darkened Lydia Dietz? Are you into whatever? At least the special effects are better for this movie. I mean, if nothing else. It's going to get a better budget. It's going to get some better CGI. That's going to be pretty dope. But anyway, that seems like a good place to start wrapping things up. Thanks to all of you for coming and hanging out. I very much appreciate it. And thank you, of course, to my awesome kick-ass panel of contributors today. Lady Core, where can the folks at home find you?
Here next Thursday. Or the internet.
Where else does she need to be? and of course, my hetero life mate, Jeremy, what do you got going on, my friend?
Well, I started helping you out in Fortnite, building your American Gladiator arena, so that's pretty fun. Come check us, just hang out and bullshit with that.
We may start doing that kind of regularly on Wednesdays. I meant to ask you about it last night, but I was just tired after doing it.
I kind of thought you wanted to do Wednesday, but I just kind of forgot to. So
we'll make plans for next Wednesday. So sometime next Wednesday night, you'll see us on here doing some Fortnite creative stuff.
That works.
With no Casey to fuck things up.
Yeah, that was some swift justice right there. I mean, yeah. See, at least I contributed in a way, because now we have parking. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm still playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, we finished Amanda the Adventurer, which, I mean, if you like Dora the Explorer-esque horror movie shit, yeah, go watch somebody play or go play it for yourself. It's only $10 on Steam, I think. I'm not sponsored to say that, but I mean, for a little game like that, it's worth it. Plenty to find and freak you out. And yeah, since I'm a terrible content creator, I don't really have anything else going because I cannot be asked to move my PlayStation to, I don't know, 20 feet that direction. But yeah, if you do find anything happening, it's right there, the name right there on Twitter. So if it happens, it'll happen there. It's closer. Oh, sorry. Rachel says it's closer to $7. So that's even more reason. There's plenty of lore, and my God, like I already got sucked in. I want a sequel. What is the name of the game? It's called Amanda the Adventurer. Yeah, you'll see a little girl and then a little sheep, or a little talking sheep companion. His name's Wooly, and I will just say and end it with justice for Wooly. He deserved better. Play the game. You'll know what I'm saying.
And of course, the shade from the Lone Star State, our man Tex is about to be run over by a bunch of immigrants once Title 42 ends. What do you got going on down there?
Well, whether it's immigrants or zombies, I'm prepared either way. I will be Negan. I will outlast. So, when the apocalypse comes, I ain't going anywhere. But until the apocalypse, it's @/Vision on Twitter. The name's on the screen. I'm here on Thursdays, so it's all good.
As for me, you can catch me here every Thursday going over all the news and happenings in the world of TV, streaming, and films. I'll be seeing Guardians at some point in the next week. I don't know exactly when. I'm thinking maybe the Thursday show, since news is kind of slowed to a trickle because of the writer's strike, may just be the review for that. So I'll figure that out over the course of the next couple of days. And then, of course, Wednesday, Jeremy will be here building the Gladiator Arena. And after we get done with Gladiator Arena, we'll move on to the Twin Towers map that I started and never got around to finish. We'll probably go finish that one as well. But for those of you who are watching us a couple weeks ago doing this stuff, you guys know what I'm talking about. But thank you guys all for coming and hanging out. I very much appreciate it. Until next time, adios.
See y'all later.
I mean, hit or miss. That's what he is, right?
Hey, you
So
can
it's
either
showtime.
be greatness or Planet of the Apes.